What's that?
How you feel? Feel good?
Yeah, I feel so much better. A new man.
You man?
Yeah, new man. New man. Keep Jason handsome. Keep Jason making videos.
Yep.
Not as handsome. Not as handsome as Rico though.
It's gonna be kind of cold. All right, you ready for that?
I'm ready. Oh, I feel that. That's the aftershave.
Kind of cold, but you know, you're a man. You can take it.
I can take it.
Smell good?
Mm-hmm.
And there you have it, man.
All right.
It's Monday, June 24th, Tuesday, June 25th, if you're on the East Coast, across the pond, or down under. And this, my friends, is Spaced Out Radio. Hope you had a great day and night coming out of the weekend. I am your host, Dave Scott, broadcasting to you live from the Great White North on top of the sunny mountains of central British Columbia, right here at SOR headquarters. We welcome you to tonight's show, including Revolution Radio. If you want to take a listen to our archives, they are free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where you can currently read the SOR Newswire, listen to the show live. Soon, the Gavinator will have more features up and running for you. Tonight's show is brought to you by Mighty Boost Beard Oil Company. It's 100% Canadian, 100% natural, taking care of beards around the world. Visit mightyboostbeard.com. Use promo code SOR2019 today. The final Monday of the month, we have our feature called Strange Days with Butch Witkowski. However, we want to announce, in case you haven't heard, over the weekend, Butch suffered a massive heart attack. He was rushed to hospital. Thankfully, Butch survived because, in reality, he's just way too cranky and stubborn to die on us. That's the truth. He'd probably snicker at hearing me say that. Butch is recovering, thankfully. And the last update I have from his good friends Lon Strickler and Eric Altman today is that he will need a quadruple bypass surgery, but everything is looking good. He is expected to fully survive and come out of this. So do me a favor, Spaced Out Radio fans. Let's send some healing love, thought, and prayer to Butch Witkowski, his family, and his friends. They all need it right now so we could get him back on his feet as soon as possible. And I don't know how long we're going to delay with Butch. I'm going to assume it's going to be a couple of months before we can have him back on the air. It all depends on how he's feeling, because he's going to be pretty out of it for the next while. But let's just send some love and prayers to Butch Witkowski, because he's such an important and integral part of what we do on Spaced Out Radio, the final Monday of every month. I mean, this is a man who literally will do anything to help us out. He will take our listeners' reports. I could call him up at any time and say, Butch, what do you think about this? Butch, what do you think about this photo? Butch, I need some information on UFOs. And he's got it. And there's never a question. Never a question. I have so much admiration and respect for Butch Witkowski. I know you, the listeners, do as well. I could see by the numbers. He's probably in our top 2 most popular shows that we do every month. I see the numbers. So please, if you can, send those prayers, send that love and healing to Butch Witkowski as he recovers from a heart attack. And he'll be having, like I said, quadruple bypass surgery probably in the next day or two. So just send him the love from all of us here at Spaced Out Radio. Filling in for Butch tonight is a good friend of his, Brian Bowden. As a child, Brian experienced some unusual events that drove his curiosity that would later propel him into becoming a UFO, cryptid, and paranormal researcher. His experiences in the paranormal realm cover the gambit of the Goblin universe, from encounters with Sasquatch and spirits to several UFO sightings. Brian also co-hosts with another good friend of this show, the crypto guru, Ronald Murphy, on their podcast, Inside the Goblin Universe. Then in hour number 3 at the bottom, I will get you the SOR Newswire, brought to you by Paranoia Magazine. Brian Bowden, thank you so much for filling in for Butch Witkowski during this real difficult time. I know you're a big fan of Butch like I am. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing really fantastic. It's great to be on the show. I appreciate the, you calling me up, and I'm there for you anytime as well. Butch is out of this world the best. And he's I mean, as far as researchers are concerned, as investigators and everything, he's in the top 5. I mean, right up there. And he's a great guy, and I'm just, sending that prayer chain out and get the healing going, get the Reiki going for everybody. And, I'm sure once they finish, putting the last valve in, he'd be like, okay, I'm out. Because that's exactly Butch is. So, but it's good to be here.
I agree. Do you have a favorite Butch Witkowski story?
It's really funny. I don't think you can actually have a favorite, because everyone, he just comes up and there's another one, and there's another one, and they just keep getting better and better. And that's what I love about Butch. Butch is always on the forefront of what's going on. I was talking to him at Eric Altman's PA Bigfoot camping weekend, and what's fantastic about that is a lot of us are friendly and really good friends online, but we never get a chance to meet each other. And it's fantastic to actually finally meet each other. So we were hanging out a lot during the day over there at the campgrounds, and we were just talking about some of the latest stuff that's going on, which is mind-blowing, especially in the PA area. But it seems to be prevalent everywhere, actually, is revolving around the cryptids and the Dogman and Bigfoot. It's just insanity what's going on. Even the rake is involved.
Well, we're going to get into a lot of this really cool cryptid stuff tonight, man. I think my favorite Butch Witkowski conversations happen off the air, because Butch is a real potty mouth. He's such a straight shooter, and, he's not afraid to drop a swear word or two in describing someone he likes or doesn't like. And that's what people don't see off the air. He just makes me laugh because he's such a cranky curmudgeon. There is no way that this man could not come back from this. He's just way too stubborn. And, it's fantastic. It really is.
It's really funny. He really is a tough guy. I mean, he's one of the true tough guys there. And yeah, you're right. He will tell you straight up how he feels, and it's actually refreshing, especially in this day and age, to actually have someone that's going to tell you straight up the truth. And it's just please, if you ever get a chance, everybody, and to go, if Butch is going to be in an event, please go. I promise you, he treats everybody like gold. He's a great, wonderful guy, and you're going to get some outrageous information from him. It's incredible stuff.
I absolutely love it. Brian, let's introduce you, because it's been literally, I was looking at the calendar today, I think it's been about 19, 20 months since we've had you on the show. Yeah, it's been that long, man. And so our audience has kind of grown a little bit since you were on there last. And so I would love to reintroduce you to our audience and, tell us a little bit about you, how you got into this. What kind of experiences brought you into the gambit, shall we say?
Oh, that's not a problem. I've been into this subject matter since I was 6 years old, and I say this all the time. I'm going to date myself. I used to watch a program called In Search Of with Leonard Nimoy, and they talked about Loch Ness Monster and Bigfoot. You saw the Patterson film and UFOs, and that was it. There was very few publications, but when they came out, we just grabbed them up in paperback, and we started reading them. And on top of that, I've always been very big in science, astronomy, that type of area there. So growing up, you liking the monster movies. You're like, like this. What if space aliens came? Do you think they were there? You start asking questions as a kid, and then you start experiencing things here and there. So, a couple times summer camp wise, we would experience a couple of UFOs, and these were legitimate UFOs where the moon is full in the woods of Connecticut, and the next thing you know, you see this giant fireball that's a little bit smaller than the moon. It's flying by, and you just can't believe your eyes. And it's not that it's a meteorite coming in or any of that, or a fireball from space. This is literally, you can see a propulsion, and you're like, what is that? So that piques your curiosity. I live in an area in New York City that has a significant amount of hauntings. I grew up in an area close by to where I live now called Spite and Dival, which means spit on the devil. And it's the point where two of the rivers, the East River and the Hudson River, meet, and it was a rough spot for the Dutch. But in this part of New York where I am, there's always been talk of a lot of spirits in the woods or elementals, and you get that vibe here. It's just an unusual or an enigma to the whole entire city. So we used to hear stories from other people and other friends in different apartment buildings about things moving in their house, ghosts coming out. So I've seen ghosts. I've seen, crazy UFO things and just anomalies like shadows, and that piqued my interest. As I kind of went on, I did my own research. I wasn't with a group or anybody, and on a bet from this one great person, co-worker at work, they dared me to go to a UFO meeting. So I picked one out, and I happened to go to this one. It was a meetup group in Yonkers, and it was at that meeting. It was fantastic. It was kind of like going to an actual live X-Files episode, because it was a potpourri of people there, and each one was different. There were some serious people there. There were some people that definitely needed some kind of help, and I don't mean that in a negative way. They were seeing things, and they believed they see things, but it was clear that they needed help. And then there was the middle ground. But what was great about this meeting is he was able to get the people that were running it were able to get like top-notch people to come in a classroom-sized room and present. Linda Zimmerman, what's his name from the UFO in the Hudson Valley, and I'm losing my track. I mean, there's Peter Robbins was there. There's a ton of people that he was friendly with, and they would come in and present. And while I was there, I met this guy who, kind of like-minded, and his name's Al Santarita. And he asked me after a while, because he's had his own experiences, and I believe, Dave, you may have been in contact with him, but you got to get Al on. And Al started a group called the Bronxville Paranormal Society, and I was his first draft pick. So I've been the number 2/3 person there, with our psychic being, the trifecta. But he has other people that joined the team, and we've just been investigating from that point forward. And the fun part is when you start investigating this subject, be it ghost or ghost hunting, as they say, you start encountering other things, shadow people, Bigfoot, Dogman. Just bizarre things that start popping in, because each investigation is really unique amongst itself. And that's how I basically started. And then I always volunteer Al for everything. So I volunteered him to be co-director of Dogman Project, North American Dogman Project for New York State. No one was there, so we took it. And we started a group called the New York State UFO Project. And the reason for that was we were doing the research anyhow, but a lot of the old meeting disbanded, and a lot of people were coming to us, can you do another meeting? And there were people that were very scared of what was taking place in their world. So basically, we had a gentleman come in who just heard about the UFO, started reading stuff, and he was absolutely freaked out. And we realized that there was a place that people are having these experiences, be it with aliens, with abductions, with crafts, and there's no real place they can go to actually talk about it with like-minded people. So we have a monthly meeting, and now we have two. We have a lower downstate one closer to New York City, and an upstate 10-year up in Red Hook, New York. And we have a live meeting where people can come and share their experiences, ask questions, get help, give support, and that's what we've been doing for the last couple of years. So that's how I got involved in it.
Brian, it's so hard to get involved with good people in this field because there are those who haven't had an experience, who are trying to take this subject very seriously on the investigative side. There are those who have had multiple experiences and come at it from a more emotional, passionate way. How have you been able to forge a team or even a group around you that includes people like the Crypto Guru in order to solidify, to try and find a tight team that you can get proper answers from, and everybody's there for the same cause rather than just trying to do their own thing and go off on their own tangents?
It's actually a very difficult task, but what you find is when you start talking with individuals, like when I met Ron Murphy, we were invited on a program from another network, Al and I, and we were on a round table, and they introduced, that's when I first met Ron, and we were just going back and forth. I mean, everything we were saying, we were just gelling perfectly, and the suggestion was, you guys should have your own radio show. So I've always wanted to do one. I did one in college, and I kind of wanted a different show. I wanted like a drive time, early morning show where you kind of can, because I could joke at anything. Even in the most serious moments, I can crack a joke. Maybe that's my way of dealing with things. But so I started my own program called Beyond the Realm, and I enlisted Al and our psychic Cindy, and we were interviewing people. And what we liked was we were trying to bring people that don't necessarily get that opportunity to be on a big show to be able to voice their experiences, their work. And through networking on that end, we started, meeting, and getting into with a lot of big names, big egos, little egos, and just good people. And then when you start talking to them off air, what kind of people they are. I met Ron, and Ron was having an issue with his program, and I volunteered to help him out. Basically, that was it, and which took him by surprise. But this is the type of person I am. I if I can help you, I'm going to help. I like that. I'm very happy when other people are happy. Believe it or not, I'm one of the few people in this world that is like that. I'd like to win the lottery, but if you won, Dave, I'd be more than happy that you won. So I started helping Ron out, and I said, until you get a host, and he said, no, you're right. Because we just started gelling, and we just been doing that program, and then the other program kind of went to the wayside due to technical issues on the network side. And it's been Ron and I for a long while. We're writing some books together. I'm helping him out with his latest book. It was On Fairies, which is a monster edition. I recommend everybody go out and get it, Barnes & Noble, or get it through, I think Amazon has it. And you just start knowing who you can talk to and who you can't. And then when you talk to some of the upper echelons, a lot of the people that have been in the news recently, you know what you're dealing with. There's a lot of people in this field, and I'm going to say it, and I know I'm going to get a lot of slack from this down the line, but I can't pussyfoot around the issue. Too many people are trying to be the victor, the spotlight, everything, and there's some crazy stuff coming out, and those aren't the people you're going to get that good research from. You're going to get it from a Butch Witkowski. You're going to get it from Sean. You're going to get it from Lon. There's select few people. Paul Sinclair out in the UK is fantastic. I mean, there's so many people out there that aren't as big, well known, but are probably the best in the field. And that's where you're throwing bouncing those ideas off of. Like you said, you can call Butch at any point in time. Like, Butch, what about this? What about that? And he'll sit on the phone with you for an hour or more and just talk to you about what his experiences and his information. And that's our group. That's our network. We're very real people. We throw our evidence out raw, and then I'm always the one that's going through it, first. But we throw it out raw because we want everybody that's listening right now, everybody that sees our evidence, take part in it. We want you to go look at it and say, no, you missed this, you missed that. And then we re-review. And you know what? Fresh eyes are great, especially when they're not yours. So that's how we work it.
We got about 4 minutes before we got to go to break at the bottom of the hour. Brian Bowden is our guest tonight, filling in for an ill Butch Witkowski. Brian, out of all the experiences that you have had and the stories that you can recall hearing from other experiencers, at some point do you ask yourself that incredibly vague question, what the heck is going on? And have you ever, in your own words, been able to put an answer to what you think is going on?
I ask that question a lot. What the heck is going on? Because once you go down one road and you're like, okay, things are starting to work. And like, yep, that's good. Okay, that piece is falling in. And then all of a sudden someone comes out of the woodwork or someplace, not intentionally trying to get fame, and throws you a curveball. And you're like, okay, what the hell is going on? It's just like that. We've had some interesting stuff and interesting experiences lately. There's some really wild things that are taking place that are not part of the norm. And this is some of the stuff that I was talking with Butch and a couple of the other guys over at the conference. And it's definitely of interest, and I think it'll be of interest to your audience because it doesn't make sense. But I also, I think outside the box. That's why Al loves me, and a lot of people do. I don't just follow the herd. I'm always looking for a couple different answers, a couple different vehicles that something can fit into, which actually help out other investigators as well. So the way I think is a lot different than everybody else. Everybody else tackles this issue. But I've kind of come to some kind of conclusion recently, and I think it's pretty interesting regarding a lot of what's taking place today. Yeah, I don't, if you want me to go into it with 4 minutes to the hour.
Well, we got a couple of minutes here, so if we got to cross it over, I'm more than happy with that.
Well, you see, there's been a lot of reports, especially in the PA area, of you get the dogmen tremendously in PA, but there's a lot of reports of the dogmen being more aggressive. I mean, lots of aggressive, just literally going after people. There's been a ton of reports of the rake, and the rake is this mystical / made up creepy pasta, as they call them. But I think there is a place in history for this type of creature, which is a humanoid type of creature, very white, long arms and limbs. And it's a very creepy type of character, kind of like the Slender Man, but with fangs and more. And that's attacking people. There's been more instances of shadow people coming in. So it seems like this whole underworld, like the world of Anubis, is coming alive and being more vicious towards a public that wasn't being attacked as much. I mean, there's some your typical dogman encounters where you get an idiot that says, I'm going to go try to kill it, and that you never hear from him again because you just don't go kill this thing. It's a death sentence in my book. And, but most of the time you'll have a dogman encounter, and I'm not saying they're nice creatures. They're menacing. They're your atypical, like in werewolf, 9-footer, 12-footer, very malicious. But for some reason, if you back it out of a situation, there's a good chance you're going to get away from it. But now, these things are being very aggressive towards animals, humans, you name it. And yes. I think that there's a big reason for it. And I think there's some answers.
Let's get into that reason when we come back from break here, because I think there's a lot of real cool questions. I want to get into the rake. I want to get into Dogman, fairies, gnomes, you name it. We're going to get into it. Brian Bowden is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. He is filling in for an ailing Butch Witkowski on strange days. Send Butch some love. He really needs it. More cryptid talk with Brian Bowden right here on Spaced Out Radio coming up. Hey, Spaced Out Radio listeners, it's Dave Scott. I want you to check out a great documentary I'm involved in called Beyond the Spectrum, Mosson's UFO Files. Directed by Darcy Weir, the film follows Jaime Mosson's journey for mainstream journalistic truth in ufology in Mexico. Beyond the Spectrum can be found on Amazon Prime. If you're a member, watch it free. It's worth the watch. Come get spooked at the 4th Annual Forest Moon Paracon in Cedar Woolley, Washington, Saturday, September 28th. UFOs, ghosts, aliens, Bigfoot. Speakers include Mike Morin and Jason Jordan, R. Keith Andrews, and Dave Scott from Spaced Out Radio, and so much more. There will be workshops and a VIP roundtable. Get early bird tickets now at fmparacon.com.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
Looking for the stories of the strange and weird that you will find hard to find anywhere else? Check out the SOR Newswire on our website. Our writers, led by Captain Shirk, are scouring the world for the oddest and most bizarre stories we can find. Everything from weird crime to suspenseful and paranormal. We're working hard for you to bring you the most intriguing news of your day. Check out the SOR Newswire at spacedoutradio.com today.
A timepiece is a reflection of who you are, and what better way to show off the real you than with an Escape watch? Escape is a lifestyle brand accessorizing your days and nights. Choose to escape and create the life of discovery that you deserve. Dream, play, unite with your own personalized Escape watch. Head to escapewatches.com. There is no time like the present to enjoy your escape. Use promo code SMF2017 for your 20% discount today.
Are you having encounters with the paranormal, supernatural, or ufological that you cannot explain? Look no further than the SOR Sightlines Report, brought to you by the Experiencers Support Association. This is Ryan Stacy, head of the Research Association, TESSA. Soon on the Spaced Out Radio website, you will be able to file your reports and have them researched for you. We are independent and ready to help Spaced Out Radio listeners today.
Heading to Vancouver and looking for a night on the town? The Moose Vancouver is the bar that never stops rocking until 2 a.m. every night. The Moose has great food with everything on the menu from $6.95 to $8.95. Fantastic, vibrant staff and rock and roll that will bring you back to when the music was real, the hair was long, and the guitars were rockin'. Get your party on at the Moose Vancouver, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thal, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
Every night on Space Out Radio, we have places for you to hang out. Hi, this is Carl. Join our SOR Space Travelers group on Facebook for live chat. On Twitter, using hashtag Spaced Out Radio. You can also join us in our Spreaker chat room. Check us out on Instagram at Dave Scott SOR. All of our archives are free on YouTube at Spaced Out Radio. By the way, I'll be watching you at your window until you do. Bye!
Did you know Spaced Out Radio runs 7 days a week? Hi there, this is Tessa Nicole Thomas, and I'm here to take you on a paranormal journey each Saturday and Sunday night. Why change the station when you have it all right here? Together, we'll hang out and share some strange and scary stories. And don't forget, we have Psychic Sundays as well, so come tune in Spaced Out Weekend. We get going at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern, only at spacedoutradio.com, where we own the night.
From the heartlands of Canada to beards around the world, we know how to take care of you. Fill your follicles with the Mighty Moose Beard Oil. All our oils and balms are handmade and 100% natural ingredients because we care about your beard. And hey, use the promo code SOR2019 and get your Mighty Moose Beard Oil today. You can check us out on our website, mightymoosebeard.com.
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
Coming soon to our website, spacedoutradio.com, is the SOR Space Travelers Club. For just $5 a month, you can get into a private area on our site where you can hang with other listeners in our chat room, post in our forum, and check out a bunch of exclusive content and store that won't be found anywhere else, including a nightly after-show party with Dave. It's going to be the best $5 a month you're going to spend. The SOR Space Travelers, only at spacedoutradio.com.
Coming up this September 21st and 22nd, all UFO eyes will be focused on Toronto for the 4th Annual Alien Cosmic Expo. Come listen to some of the biggest names and experiencers in ufology: Travis Walton, Paul Hellyer, Richard Dolan, Paula Harris, Grant Cameron, Randy Kramer, and Spaced Out Radio's own Dave Scott. Tickets are on sale now at aliencosmicexpo.com.
Welcome back to the second half hour of Spaced Out Radio. Tonight, I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. The blue sky still outside. Gosh, I love the solstice, but it's all downhill from here now until we get into the dark depths of winter. Hey, I want to remind all of you that if you have missed portions of this show or others, you can always check out our free archives at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Don't forget our website is spacedoutradio.com. You can read up on the SOR Newswire, listen to the show live. The Gavinator has more features coming very, very soon, so stay tuned for that. Brian Bowden is here for Strange Days. It happens the last Monday of every month. Normally, our guest is Butch Witkowski from UFORCOM. However, Butch suffered a massive heart attack on Saturday. He is still alive. He is still breathing. He's way too stubborn to go on us just like that. But he will require bypass surgery, so we're sending Butch a lot of love tonight from the Spaced Out Radio crowd. Please do so all night long and tomorrow and the next day because we need him around here. Brian, thank you so much on short notice, filling in for our good friend Butch. Really enjoying this conversation because right before the break, I was asking you, what do you think is really going on? And you started getting into the rake and dogman. Let's start off with the rake here, my friend, because I don't think there's a lot of people who understand, me included, what the rake actually is.
Well, there's a lot of talk about the rake. The rake, some people think it's a made up type of character, or like the Slender Man, where it prays. It was put out there that this is real, and then people start believing it. I don't know if you want to take it as a public hype, where they actually believe this entity exists, or is it a manifestation of their imaginations coming to life? But if you go back into about 1600s, there was talk about a similar creature in regards to ships. And there was one guy on a ship that was visited by the rake. And the rake usually is it's kind of like the Wendigo and a skinwalker. It kind of foretells a bad omen, bad luck, loss of life. And this sailor had an encounter on the ship, and it usually comes at night. It's very pale, bald as it's like bald as a baby, but all white, exaggerated features, very thin, kind of like the Slender Man, but all white and naked. And it visits you, and the deeper you sleep, the whole purpose is that it will kill you. It scares you, and then it kills you. It's a really interesting, weird cryptid. There's a couple of videos on YouTube that are very interesting regarding this that don't have that CGI feel to it. I'm not going to attest that it isn't. But there's certain reactions from people that are kind of hard to you can be a good actor, but these actions and this response is a little bit more realistic. There's one video where this kid is actually watching this through his kitchen. He calls his buddy up. He's videotaping it on his iPad, and it's a creepy video. It just slowly creeps up to you, very, very slowly. And I guess its intent and purpose is to actually kill you. What it does, whether it feasts on the meat like a skinwalker or a Wendigo, not really sure what its main purpose is. But this entity is being seen in a lot of places now, especially on the East Coast. And people are just driving down the street, going home from work or a late party, and all of a sudden they'll see this thing on the side of the road, or they'll get into their house and it's in their house, and somehow it gets in their house. And it's aggressive. It's actually going after people, be it in a vehicle, on a motorcycle, in a car. It's pounding against the house, scaring the hell out of some people. I'm hearing these different, not getting full details of these reports because it's outside of where I actually go. But Butch was talking about a lot of these sightings that are coming up, and I can't fill your shoes, Butch, but I'm, doing the best I can. But it's a very unusual creature. Alongside this type of creature at night, you have the dogman, which I think we've had discussions about, or I know you've definitely talked to the cryptid guru about dogman, the werewolf, lichen type of cryptid. Again, these cryptids, 9 feet tall, some reports of 12 feet. I don't know if that's exaggeration. They're pretty big. Basically looks like a werewolf. If you ever watch Van Helsing, it looks like the werewolf, although there's 7 type of variants. People are saying one more baboonish, one a little bit of a combination between a Bigfoot and a baboon, or a Bigfoot and a dog, a hyena. And then you have the super soldier types, which are more werewolfish. And there's been numerous reports recently of people having encounters with this cryptid, this creature, be it passing by a cemetery where a lot of these have been reported to be located and hanging out, and they're literally going after people. Again, hitting the cars. They're super strong. Almost like stalking them, like prey. There's a great something in New York State happened. There was a woman in New York State, central part of our state of New York. Her husband used to listen to a lot of this stuff. She goes and she's coming home late at night, and they live in a rural area, and she's got 2 kids sleeping in the car. She pulls up to her house, gets out, and the minute she gets out of the car, she's unnerved. Now, if anybody's ever had discussions about the dogman, one of the things that always comes up is when a cryptid, be it Bigfoot or the dogman, a bipedal type of creature, predator, is in the area, all sounds of nature just go silent. No frogs, no crickets, no nothing. It's actually very eerie. And
you
so
know
this
what?
woman, yeah.
You know what? I'm going to interrupt you right there for a quick second, because up here where I live, there's a lot of Sasquatch sightings and evidence in our area. And my buddy Mike recently had started doing that, where he had recordings of Sasquatch sounds that he took off of YouTube.
Yep.
And he would go into areas, and he's still doing this. He's testing it out right now. He's done it 3 or 4 times now, where he goes into an area where maybe he'll see some deer, or there's birds chirping around, or there's signs of some sort of wildlife going on, and then all of a sudden he will crank this Sasquatch sound, and everything goes silent, and you can literally see I believe the last time he did this, he actually watched 2 deer get the hell out of Dodge faster than a speeding bullet. Like these creatures, from bird on up to bigger species, were freaked right out, and they got the heck out of the area fast.
It's actually very unnerving when they're in the area, and regarding Bigfoot. We had a major encounter with Bigfoot. We were doing an investigation in 2015 upstate New York, a place called Nuclear Lake, and you can feel pressure starting to build in the area. We started hearing rock knocks in the distance and a tree knock, and a little bit of walking on the leaf litter, and you could just start feeling the pressure in the air build up. And it got to a point where there was a bluff charge at our group. It's pitch black, mind you, where we were. We didn't have a fire. We had no weapons except for, I don't have a permit for any type of firearm. I live in New York City, so it's very difficult to get. But it's also partially on federal land. And in the U.S., you bring a firearm on federal land at one point, you're going to jail. So I wasn't, none of us had one, and we weren't going to bring them anyhow. But we got a bluff charge. But once the tree knock started, not even the frogs were chirping, and we were right next to this big lake. Nothing, not the ducks, no birds, crickets, nothing. It was eerily quiet, and you hear the bluff charge coming at you. Nothing's there. We're using infrared. We're using FLIR. We have night vision. We're shining 20, 30,000 lumi, lights. Can't see a damn thing, but you can feel when this thing is walking, you feel it in the air. And at one point, it let out a whoop, 3 whoops, whoop, 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 very much like, forgot the researcher's name, but he did the vocal calls. Probably where your buddy got some of the whoop and the chatter. And
yes.
Let me tell you, we got up immediately.
Ronald Moorhead.
Yes, Moorhead. And we got up immediately. We made a triangle. Actually, one of the guys that was there, who was videotaping for us, he went to run. So we stopped him. He said, stay our ground. And I was on the right of Al, and this guy, Bill, was on the left of Al. And we formed a triangle, pitch black, and I had my machete out about 3/4. I was ready because it was big. And the next thing you know, it just kind of stopped. And you felt the pressure go down. And it was very interesting. We stood our ground. We didn't move. And once that happened, whatever was in the woods, and it sounded bipedal, not like we've heard bear before. I've heard deer before. I've heard even foxes and other animals. This was like definitely 2 feet walking on the litter. Kind of like an elephant. If you've ever been to an outdoor circus or an event and there were elephants there, when they walk, you kind of feel the ground move. It was very bizarre. But once that stopped and the whoops went whoop, whoop, and then about a half a mile down the road, you heard the 3rd whoop, which was interesting. The pressure went away and everything lightened up as if nothing ever happened. And all of a sudden the birds started, like the crickets started chirping. So what I got from that was whoever that Bigfoot was, that Sasquatch was, it was those whoops were telling them there's 3 of them, take a different route to another Sasquatch that was off in the distance. This was almost like doing recon. And because we stood our ground, we didn't respond to the bluff charge like we should have by running away. We were there. It gave up and told whatever was in part of its clan or family to move. Don't come this way. There's 3 of them. Probably take the back door. Because we stood there, the last moment or interaction in contact with this cryptid was it throwing about a 70, 80-pound boulder down the hill, the embankment. We were sitting down a little bit of embankment. It hit my chair, and it popped me right out of my chair. But we ran right at it. We ran right to it. It was a bit unnerving because you couldn't see. And how it got to point A, from point A to point B, which is about a half a mile, maybe a mile down, in the area, in under probably 2 seconds, that changed my opinion about Sasquatch at that moment. And I'll go into that. My opinion was that this was I think it's a flesh and blood creature, a real physical entity, be it partially human, be it a missing link. I never thought of it as being something that was interdimensional, because I've heard tons of reports that this thing goes in and out of dimensions, and I never thought about the telepathy aspect of it, because I got to be honest, I thought people were crazy. But after this experience, there's no way this thing could have traveled that fast without being able to do something interdimensionally. I mean, if you look at physics, there's no way you can do this in our normal plane. But if you take an interdimensional, something that could open up a portal and travel from point A to point B via a different dimension, it is plausible scientifically. And that changed my whole outlook on this thing. And it's very important that it did, because there's a lot of strange things that go on there after that investigation.
Right.
I didn't want to believe it. I'm a little bit more of a science guy. I want to find that science answer. I want to quantify it. Not to just replicate it, but to give you quantification. So when somebody comes up, you will prove it, and you can prove it quantitatively. That's what this is. But this blew my mind, because I didn't want to believe it.
Brian, I want to ask you, you mentioned a word here that for some is very taboo in the field of paranormal research, using the word paranormal as an umbrella term, and that is interdimensional. When it comes to anything cryptid, that seems to be the stumbling block between researchers. We have the researchers who are out there who claim they're doing everything scientific, and science says that it is impossible for something to be interdimensional, or we have the people out there who've had a weird, strange experience. They can't explain it because the creature disappeared right in front of them, or they saw pixelation like I did right before a roar, or something along those lines. It just makes them believe there is something supernatural with it. And this just isn't towards Bigfoot. This is towards Dogman, the bipedal canines, gnomes, elves, sprites, whatever it may be, fairies. How realistic or how open-minded or closed-minded are we being when it comes to this interdimensional chat?
Well, the problem we have in this world is that we as human beings are very arrogant. And I'm going to say it, we're very arrogant. A lot of people are arrogant, especially in the scientific community. And they think, oh, it's impossible. It's implausible. Well, the way I view it is, with that kind of logic, we'd never fly. We'd never go to the moon. We'd never have any satellites. We wouldn't be talking right now, because it just wasn't possible. The problem we have is we don't know what we don't know. And little by little, science is catching up to the reality of what's real and what's not. There are other dimensions. If there are other dimensions, then there has to be a way to open those dimensions and travel from one to the other. And they're finding out that they can do that. I mean, they've been able to take particles and pull them from point A to point B. It's been controlled in a laboratory. Physics is greatly evolving right now. So the people that say, oh, this is not, there's nothing to this dimension thing, there's no way, I think they're just being stubborn about it, and they don't want to believe that there are these things that are possible. Remind you that the coelacanth was thought to be extinct until they found one. Again, we don't know what we don't know. Now, what I do believe about these cryptids is, and I'm going to talk specifically about Dogman and Bigfoot at this point, is I'm thoroughly convinced that both use infrasound as a vehicle for them to manipulate the environment around them. Not only physically, like if like a lion roar, where it kind of like reverberates in your chest, it gives you that uneasy feeling. They literally have the ability to manipulate the spectrum, and that means the visual spectrum. And what I've noticed is that when everybody says this, how come there's not a clear shot of Bigfoot? Well, one, digital right now isn't the vehicle to really use for it, because it's kind of artificial in the way it processes things. Real film is better, but if you can change the wavelength and the visual spectrum, then you're basically cloaking yourself. So that's hence the fuzzy photos of Bigfoot for the most part, except for the one ultimate, which was the Patterson film, right? I mean, that was crystal freaking clear. But I'll give you a perfect example. Every picture you see of a Bigfoot, for the most part, even people on the cell phones, it's pretty blurry. You can't really get a fine-tuned image. Even when it looks pretty clear, there's some blurriness around the creature. One case in particular, there was, I think it's an eagle cam, and I'm not sure where it is, but maybe in the Pacific Northwest. And it was super high up. When these creatures see people or humans, I believe they know exactly what a camera is. I believe because they're nocturnal, they have the ability to be nocturnal, they can see those game cameras because they give that infrared light off, kind of like a baby monitor. If you went into a room that was a baby and you took a picture while the infrared, the little monitor was on there, your film would have a white stripe wherever the light was being brought down from the infrared, right? That's what lights up the room. That's what it makes you able to see at night. These Bigfoots have like a lemur. They can put a lens over their eyes and actually see that light. It's like a beacon in the middle of the night. Like, what the hell is that? And so this is why you can't catch them on game cameras. But in general, whenever they know that a camera is available, they cover them. They protect themselves. I don't know why, but it seems like they use this infrasound to create that type of protective cloak. When they're not on guard and when they're not aware of a camera being present, there have been clear images. And I go back to the eagle's nest, and I know a little bit off over here, but there was a nest of eagles. They had a camera on to watch the birth of all these little different eagles. It was super high up. But in the video footage, you see this monkey-like bipedal, playing around on the ground, significantly below it. You've seen it, right?
I've seen
pretty
that,
damn
yes.
Clear, right? It's clear because that creature was not aware that there's a camera that high up. Wasn't expecting it. So there's no reason for it to use its infrasound or its cloaking ability to protect itself. That's why that image, if you really look at it, blow it up, it's a pretty clear image. I mean, it's at a distance, but it's fairly fine quality. And that's the reason why you're not being able to see these things, properly or get good photos. This is the reason why the infrasound is the reason why when people come up against a dogman or a Bigfoot, there's this feeling of dread. They have this ability to just create this environment where you just want to get out. But Bigfoot does it too. When they don't want you in an area, it's report after report. We got out of the car, we're going to go to the picnic area, and all of a sudden we just felt uncomfortable, like somebody was watching us.
Right.
That's not your sixth sense. That's infrasound. That's their ability to project that in your direction without being, raising the decibels. They can do it. I don't know how, because I don't have a Bigfoot there.
Brian, I'm going to get you to hold on right there because we are going to go to break here at the top of the hour. You gave us lots to think about, man. Lots to think about.
It's a really, you got to think of it in different ways, and a lot more things are coming out. People think
absolutely.
Some people don't go in my camp. It's a constant discussion.
You got that right. Brian Bowden is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio, filling in for the ill Butch Witkowski on Strange Days. We'll be back with hour number 2 of Strange Days right after this.
We all know on Spaced Out Radio we love a good beard and mustache, so why not take care of your facial hair with Mighty Moose Beard Oil? Made in Canada, we're taking care of beards and stashes around the world. We use 100% natural ingredients with our oils and balms to make your whiskers feel silky smooth. Use promo code SOR2019 at MightyMooseBeard.com today.
Come hang out with Spaced Out Radio, where we own the night. This is Carl. You can follow Dave on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, and during the show, use the hashtag Spaced Out Radio to chat with us live. On Instagram, at Dave Scott SOR. On Facebook, give our page a like, Spaced Out Radio Show. SOR archives are free on YouTube at Spaced Out Radio. Come join us, or I will come join you. See you at your window.
Get your horns up with me on Spaced Out Radio. This is Ron Bumblefoot Thal. Come tune in to SOR, where you can hear me rock out with Little Brother is Watching, the official theme song of Spaced Out Radio. And then come on over to bumblefoot.com, where you can find out about my tour schedule, my music, and everything else. Bumblefoot.com keeps you up to date on what I'm doing and the best way to stay in touch with my music and music camps. Sign up for my newsletter at bumblefoot.com, and remember, Little Brother is watching.
Canada's largest UFO conference is ready to roll in Toronto this September 21st and 22nd at the Alien Cosmic Expo. This year is about the experience. Listen to the stories of Dave Scott, Travis Walton, Paula Harris, Grant Cameron, Ryan Stacey, Richard Dolan, Leslie Mitchell-Clark, and more. Get your tickets now at aliencosmicexpo.com. Find your escape where time has no limits. It's about living today and cherishing the heritage of yesterday. A spirit of adventure for what is new, with the nostalgia of the past. Your timepiece is a reflection of who you are. Life surrounded by beauty from the world around us to the soul within. EscapeWatches.com. There is no time like the present to enjoy your escape. Use promo code SMF2017 for your 20% discount today.
Hey fans, it's Dave Scott. Do I have something for you to check out? A great documentary about legendary Mexican investigative journalist Jaime Maussan and his search for the truth about UFOs. Beyond the Spectrum, Maussan's UFO files can be found on Amazon Prime. It's free to watch if you're a member. You might even hear me in it. So check out Beyond the Spectrum, only on Amazon Prime. The Call of the Wild is in Vancouver. The Moose Vancouver is one of the hottest bars and restaurants in the city. Open until 2 a.m. nightly, the Moose will rock you like a hurricane all night long. Great food with everything on the menu at $6.95 near the corner of Nelson and Granville. Get your horns up and come rock with us. The Moose Vancouver, the official rocking bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Visit purpleplates.com today. For over 40 years, the Purple Energy Plates have been delivering amazing results for their many customers. Inspired by the great genius Nikola Tesla, the harmony, healing, and energetic effects of the plates have proven over and over to be beneficial and often miraculous to thousands of customers. Check their site for daily specials and choose from their many energy products. You won't be sorry. Visit them today at purpleplates.com.
Are you having encounters with the paranormal, supernatural, or ufological that you cannot explain? Look no further than the SOR Sightlines Report, brought to you by the Experiencers Support Association. This is Ryan Stacey, head of the Research Association, TESSA. Soon on the Spaced Out Radio website, you'll be able to file your reports and have them researched for you. We are independent and ready to help Spaced Out Radio listeners today.
You hear footsteps in the empty room above you. A rocking chair begins rocking by itself. Don't be afraid of the things that go bump in the night. Reach for Spirit Storybox, the iPhone app the Huffington Post UK called the only ghost hunting app you will ever need. Spirit Storybox. The spirits are telling their stories. Are you listening?
At spacedoutradio.com, we have a little bit of everything for you to stay up late. So while you're there, check out our SOR Newswire, where our team brings you stories of the weird and strange to the WTF from around the globe. News on Bigfoot, UFOs, paranormal, Darwinian-type crime tales. It's the stories that the mainstream media usually won't touch. Well, we got them all on the SOR Newswire, only at spacedoutradio.com.
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
Come get spooked at the 4th Annual Forest Moon Paracon in Cedar-Woolley, Washington, Saturday, September 28th. UFOs, ghosts, aliens, Bigfoot. Speakers include Mike Morin and Jason Jordan, R. Keith Andrews, and Dave Scott from Spaced Out Radio, and so much more. There will be workshops and a VIP roundtable. Get early bird tickets now at fmparacon.com.
We are getting ready to relaunch the SOR Space Travelers Club at spacedoutradio.com. For $5 a month, you can join us for a plethora of features found nowhere else. Hang out in a private chat room during the show and after party. You can check out some exclusive content and a store specifically for you, as well as a private listener forum where you can post your thoughts, stories, and pictures. The SOR Space Travelers Club, coming soon to spacedoutradio.com.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
The freedom to post what you want, when you want. That's the social media freedom you need. Social Media Freedom is the free app in your app store. No need to worry about going to jail or being shadow banned any longer. It's the freedom to say what you feel. The freedom to know Big Brother isn't watching. It's the way social media is supposed to be. Social Media Freedom. It's time to set yourself free. Download from your app store today.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with Dave Scott. Follow Dave on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Facebook, Spaced Out Radio Show.
Welcome back to hour number 2 of Spaced Out Radio tonight. I am your host, Dave Scott. Thank you so much for joining us. Tomorrow night on the show, Brent Rains talks about his ET abduction experiences, 9:06 Pacific, 12:06 a.m. Eastern at spacedoutradio.com. Hi to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates, KDNF, AM 1560 in Dangerfield, Texas, KDUN, AM 1030 in Reedsport, Oregon, in Ridgecrest, California, KZFX 93.7 FM, WQEE 99.1 FM in Newnan, Georgia, and in New Orleans, UPRN 107.7 FM on the digital side. Hi to everyone listening in on Revolution Radio. Great to have you with us. Don't forget, all of our archives are free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Quadrag Interim. I don't think I got that right, but Quadrag Interim is your password. Make sure you use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on the mighty SOR. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where you can read up on the SOR Newswire provided by Captain Shirk. Listen to the show live. The Gavinator has new features coming very, very soon, so check in often. Tonight we are talking with Brian Bowden on Strange Days. Strange Days happens the final Monday of every month. Usually it's with Butch Witkowski from U4COP. But if you're just tuning in and saying, well, where's Butch? Over the weekend, Butch had a major heart attack. He is alive in hospital. He's doing well. He is recovering. He will need bypass surgery. So we wish him a lot of love and prayers and pray that everything goes just perfectly, because Butch is one strong, mean, cranky individual, and we definitely need him back on this show. But more importantly, his family and friends need him as well. So we wish him and his family all the best. And please, if you have the opportunity, send some loving healing and prayers over to Butch and his family as well. We'd appreciate that. So Brian has graciously filled in for Butch tonight. And Brian, you're doing awesome so far, my friend. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. It's big shoes to fill. I mean, Butch is Butch. I don't think anybody could fill those shoes. He's a great guy, and I would be listening to Butch right now.
So would I.
Butch,
I'm
trying, Butch.
I always know when I gotta pick up my game a little bit, because if Butch doesn't like an answer, he'll give me like a 5-second, 10-second clip, and I'm like, oh crap, guess he didn't like that question. So now I gotta think of something quick off the top of my head. But I love it. I love the man, and all the best to him in his recovery. Hey, normally in hour 2 we get to some audience questions out of the chat room. If you don't mind, I'd like to fire some your way.
Fire away.
We're going to start off with Christoph here. He is asking, Brian, do you know of any other animals that manipulate sound to establish territory in the fashion that, say, Bigfoot or Dogman do? Are you there? Did you hit mute on your mic?
Sorry, I did. I said, thanks, Christoph. Sorry, but I did hit mute. Yeah, there are other animals, and it's not just the cryptid animals. Whales use it. Elephants use it. Tigers use it. I believe Labradors actually use it as well, and a couple other breeds. But a lot of them use it to give a warning and to make them bigger than they are. It's something that was discovered probably 40, 50 years ago. And the first actual use of infrasound for the general public outside of being in the wilderness was actually the movie The Exorcist. And that's what made that movie so scary, is they used infrasound in a specific frequency range, which actually preys on your nerves. You just get uncomfortable, and you get like this feeling of fear in you. And that's what's hidden within the music soundtrack. So that was always interesting to know. One of my cousins worked on that movie, and they were talking about it. And I remember that since, he talked about it way back when in the 70s. But there's a ton of animals that use it. I don't know of any other animals as far as, the sprites, fairies, or what have you, but I'm thoroughly convinced. Again, a lot of this stuff you can't prove because we don't have these creatures in a contained environment where you can actually kind of get them to do it. But it's a plausible answer to why people feel unnerved when in the presence of these. It's not just the sheer size and magnitude. There's something else there.
Another question, this one coming from Joey, who is asking, sound waves are associated with hearing, EM waves are associated with seeing. Please explain your associating infrasound with Bigfoot disguising its ability to perceived physically. To be perceived physically, sorry.
Yeah, no, this is something that literally got me because of the fact they're two different wavelengths. But in the spectrum itself, and when we get into the reason why I was using this initially is the one spectrum that you'll guarantee to catch a Bigfoot on or something strange on is always that the infrared spectrum, the same spectrum that FLIRs use, where you get the body heat. But I am not an expert in the science behind infrasound or the different wavelengths, but it seems to be very plausible that you can manipulate things through sound waves. And when you get to a sub-level of the sound wave, We're not thoroughly, sure of exactly what can happen, but we'll use 5G, for example, which is a part of the wave and is part of a spectrum. When you have a running spout of water and you just have it running and then you hit it or turn on a 5G wave, which is the new cell tower waves, you will get a zigzag type of pattern flowing out of the water. So physically, you can manipulate things through sound. And visually, you can manipulate the same type of principle behind it. If you're physically being able to manipulate it, then there is some underlying ability that they have to manipulate or cloak themselves with it. Again, not a scientist, but I'm thoroughly convinced that that's what they're using to be able to do that. Combine that on the top of the fact that there's a good chance they may be able to do things dimensionally, then we get into a whole different ball of wax. And our science even is not publicly up to that spectrum yet. Like you said before, Dave, there are plenty of people that will never believe that. They won't believe in interdimensional. It's very hard to believe because none of us have gone interdimensionally. But who's to say you can or you can't? That's the only explanation I can say when I'm having an encounter with a bipedal cryptid and it moves from point A to point B, which is about a mile, out in under 2 seconds. You have to be able to do something, bend space-time, create a portal. I don't know. We have researchers up in the Hudson Valley, and they had this video in the forest. And at 1 minute, you see this, which looks like a Bigfoot. It could have been a dogman, but it wasn't too clear. They went frame by frame. In 1 minute, you see this thing. About 2 frames out, there's a light that appears like a flash, and then it disappears. The only way you can do something like that is by manipulating your environment. And they may have the ability to do that. We're just trying to play catch-up at this point. And, try to get the science behind it. We don't have the science behind it. I'm sure militarily we do. There are things that they're not going to let us know about for national security. Who knows? They could be doing things left and right around there, and getting this done. I don't know. But that's your answer. Time will tell, actually.
All right. Let's get to a question from Gail, who is saying she associates an interdimensional reality with high intelligence and scientific inquiry. Isn't there a huge discrepancy between that level of skill and thinking ability and a furry animal who has not discovered wheels, fire, or tools?
Very interesting question, but also you have to understand that maybe these animals don't need that. There's a lot of talk. Even Ron Murphy used to talk about this a lot as far as the fairies are concerned. There's different elementals, and everything has a purpose, and everything has the ability to do certain things. Some of them look humanistic, like very small humans. Some of them are just almost like a mist, like a wisp. Who knows what the Bigfoot is capable of? Because we've never caught these creatures making a fire. We know that they have some kind of communication and language. So if they can communicate with each other, they definitely can signal each other with different type of structures, be it physical structures in trees, on the ground structures. And we know that they know how to give birth, which is also, I know it's natural, but there has to be a certain type of knowledge around the process. It's not like they, walk away. We don't know what these creatures, the intellect of these creatures are. Just because someone is simple or something is simple doesn't mean that they are simple. There's a lot of, intelligence behind these creatures. There's been many reports where these, I'll use Bigfoot as an example. Bigfoot is known that there are dogmen on a pathway. There was a story about a woman told where she's walking her dog down a path that she normally walks at night, and rocks started getting thrown at her. And basically what happened was there was a Bigfoot there throwing the rocks at her, warning this lady that there's a dogman ahead. And she kind of didn't listen to it, went past it, encountered the dogman, and came running back. And then eventually got home safe. But this creature is wise enough to know that there's a bipedal predator out there, same size as a Bigfoot, that doesn't consider humans anything more than, in my opinion, as a food source. So it's intelligent enough to protect the human being, but it's not intelligent enough to make fire that you know of. Maybe they do make fire. No one's ever really found a campsite. You know, a lot of the creatures out there, if you have a dog, I had a dog, a lot of people are pro raw diet, where they don't cook their food. They just eat it raw. It's all subjective to the specific individual or the specific creature. You know, I just because it looks like a human being doesn't necessarily mean it does have everything that a human being has. So it's an interesting question, but we don't know yet. And this is the problem with this whole subject. And it's not a cop-out. It's just the truth. We don't know. You have to get somebody that's either abducted by these things and goes back to a den and sees what takes place there. And maybe you get some information there. Or we have to capture them or find their location and watch them.
Right. I understand that. When it comes to the interdimensional space, I know the experience I had after I saw the Bigfoot. Up here, First Nations have this saying that Sasquatch is a interdimensional species and or a shapeshifter. And when I had my experience, I saw a pixelation, which, talking to a couple of Indigenous friends, they said, yeah, that's exactly what happens. That's what we've seen for centuries and what the elders have talked about as well. And shortly after I saw that pixelation, that's where we heard the roar, probably about 30 seconds to a minute afterwards. So when you have things like that happening, or you see these tracks, say you're following a set of tracks. How many times have we heard researchers following a set of tracks, whether it's in the snow or the mud, and they just stop? There's nothing more.
Yep.
You know,
yeah.
This is what bugs me about it, and we can't eliminate that evidence. I mean, it's easy to say, Brian, that the creature, it backpedals back on its tracks. Well, it has to step out somewhere, and there would be some sort of feature in those tracks showing that it's a double track and not a perfect single track.
You know, I'm reminded of David Pallades with Missing 411, and a lot of the national parks reports of people walking in a straight line up a mountain path or a goat trail, and the next thing you know, someone's missing. Right in front of your face. Who's to say that these things can't open up a window and just grab you, pull you in, and you're done? And then, of course, they find the body elsewhere. Now, we don't know if it's a Bigfoot doing it or what's doing that, pulling you into a different dimension. But the plausible explanation is they have this ability to do that. They have an ability to materialize in places and then dematerialize. There's a great footage of very interesting. National Geographic did one of these great movies where they were filming in Alaska, I believe, and at a distance they were filming like a herd of elk, and I don't think the guy was even aware that he caught this, but there's a Bigfoot on the camera, and there's like an area there where it comes out of nowhere, almost a little bit like behind a mound. And then the next thing you know, it goes to the right of the screen as you're looking at it. It disappears, and then it appears like feet away in another area. It's right in your face when this is taking place. The only way that can be possible is, one, if there's a hole there and he's just running through a hole to get out to the other area, but it's too quick to do that. It literally has to open up a spot or a dimension or something and travel from point A to point B. Now, if I just told you that we have the ability now to take particles and material at point A and transport them, like in Star Trek, from one spot to another spot, a distance. So if we can do this now using general objects or even molecules, what's to say a creature hasn't developed it, or that's one of its abilities? So it can't make fire, but it can actually dematerialize point A and move to point B. I think it's very plausible. And one day, not that far out, I think we'll be able to be doing the transporter type of thing and, travel through these dimensions, master that technique. This is how these craft, the UFOs, besides the propulsion system, but in order to get from a galaxy, billions of galaxies away in an instant, and there's been reports of people being abducted and traveling through with these crafts and aliens to some home planets, they have to be able to manipulate space and time, and they have to be able to create a portal, or as they do, when you fold a piece of paper together, that's a black hole. Go through some spot, transporting it from point A to point B. That's what I think is really taking place. I just don't understand. I mean, I don't believe we have the mental capacity to understand that this is possible just yet. It's a really interesting subject, and this is the big debate right now, because people don't want to believe that. When you saw the particles, right? I'll give you. We were doing the radio show, Goblin Universe, and one of our guests was on. I was talking about a woman that lived in a very off the grid, and she lived in a cabin off the grid, and she heard a ruckus outside in the front of her porch, and she thought it was the coyotes again, getting into her garbage or whatever, making a mess. So she was going to teach the coyotes a lesson. She had a double-barrel shotgun, always loaded. Grabs a shotgun, opens the door, and fires. Actually, opened the door, fires at this thing that's standing in front of him. Think it's a coyote. It is actually a Bigfoot. The minute she hit the Bigfoot, center mass, she said a beam of light appeared, and it just disappeared in front of her face. This is a report from... Yeah. And when I heard that, this is why I'm saying there's a lot of things taking place today that are game changers. You don't want to believe it because it's not logical enough to believe. But if this is interdimensional, then it physically can move from point A to point B. It can dematerialize. It's energy that reforms itself. That's the best way I can explain it. I'd like to see this in person, only with a Bigfoot. I don't want to go up against the dog man for safety reasons. But I think this is plausible, and I'm going to, this is always in the back of my mind whenever there's a Bigfoot there, looking for telltale signs that there's more to this than just the physical, being, the flesh and blood. I mean, I just don't know how to explain it. And another thing that's going on right now is, in regards to all these cryptids, Bigfoot, Dogman, Rake, Wendigo, all these different type of beings, these cryptid beings that are being spotted. The new thing now is there's always been reports of strange lights either prior or post the experience. So what's the connection there? And also UFO sightings. But this is where it gets a little bit even more strange. And people just roll their eyes. Oh, you're crazy. I'm not the one reporting it, but I will tell you, after we had that encounter at the lake, and everything, calmed down, we were moving to our next location, and basically what happened was, it was a crystal clear night. It was a perfect night, full moon. We look out amongst the lakes. We walked to the top end of the lake going to this next location, which is 10 minutes away by walking. And in the sky, going from south to north, was this light. It looked like a yellowish, in my opinion, like an old airplane light. And it just started moving, right in front of us. And, I mean, we're all looking at it. And I remember going, what is that? And I pointed to it.
Brian, I'm going to get you to hold on right there because we are going to go to break here at the bottom of the hour.
Sure.
Brian Bowden filling in for an ill Butch Witkowski on Strange Days. We're going to continue with the weird and strange and your questions coming up right after this. Hey, Spaced Out Radio listeners, it's Dave Scott. I want you to check out a great documentary I'm involved in called Beyond the Spectrum, Mosson's UFO Files. Directed by Darcy Weir, the film follows Jaime Mosson's journey for mainstream journalistic truth in ufology in Mexico. Beyond the Spectrum can be found on Amazon Prime. If you're a member, watch it free. It's worth the watch.
Coming up this September 21st and 22nd, all UFO eyes will be focused on Toronto for the 4th Annual Alien Cosmic Expo. Come listen to some of the biggest names and experiencers in ufology. Travis Walton, Paul Hellyer, Richard Dolan, Paula Harris, Grant Cameron, Randy Kramer, and Spaced Out Radio's own Dave Scott. Tickets are on sale now at aliencosmicexpo.com.
Did you know Spaced Out Radio runs 7 days a week? Hi there, this is Tessa Nicole Thomas, and I'm here to take you on a paranormal journey each Saturday and Sunday night. Why change the station when you have it all right here? Together, we'll hang out and share some strange and scary stories. And don't forget, we have Psychic Sundays as well, so come tune in Spaced Out Weekend. We get going at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern, only at spacedoutradio.com, where we own the night.
A timepiece is a reflection of who you are, and what better way to show off the real you than with an Escape watch? Escape is a lifestyle brand accessorizing your days and nights. Choose to escape and create the life of discovery that you deserve. Dream, play, unite with your own personalized Escape watch. Head to escapewatches.com. There is no time like the present to enjoy your escape. Use promo code SMF2017 for your 20% discount today.
From the heartlands of Canada to beards around the world, we know how to take care of you. Fill your follicles with the Mighty Moose Beard Oil. All our oils and balms are handmade and 100% natural ingredients because we care about your beard. And hey, use the promo code SOR2019 and get your Mighty Moose Beard Oil today. You can check us out on our website, mightymoosebeard.com.
Heading to Vancouver and looking for a night on the town? The Moose Vancouver is the bar that never stops rocking until 2 a.m. every night. The Moose has great food with everything on the menu from $6.95 to $8.95. Fantastic, vibrant staff and rock and roll that will bring you back to when the music was real, the hair was long, and the guitars were rocking. Get your party on at the Moose Vancouver, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now. The Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
Every night on Spaced Out Radio, we have places for you to hang out. Hi, this is Carl. Join our SOR Space Travelers group on Facebook for live chat. On Twitter, using hashtag Spaced Out Radio. You can also join us in our Spreaker chat room. Check us out on Instagram at Dave Scott SOR. All of our archives are free on YouTube at Spaced Out Radio. By the way, I'll be watching you at your window until you do. Bye!
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thorne, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
Looking for the stories of the strange and weird that you will find hard to find anywhere else? Check out the SOR Newswire on our website. Our writers, led by Captain Shirk, are scouring the world for the oddest and most bizarre stories we can find. Everything from weird crime to suspenseful and paranormal. We're working hard for you to bring you the most intriguing news of your day. Check out the SOR Newswire at spacedoutradio.com today.
Are you having encounters with the paranormal, supernatural, or ufological that you cannot explain? Look no further than the SOR Sightlines Report, brought to you by the Experiencers Support Association. This is Ryan Stacy, head of the Research Association, TESSA. Soon on the Spaced Out Radio website, you'll be able to file your reports and have them researched for you. We are independent and ready to help Spaced Out Radio listeners today.
Come get spooked at the 4th Annual Forest Moon Paracon in Cedar-Woolley, Washington, Saturday, September 28th. UFOs, ghosts, aliens, Bigfoot. Speakers include Mike Morin and Jason Jordan, R. Keith Andrews, and Dave Scott from Spaced Out Radio, and so much more. There will be workshops and a VIP roundtable. Get early bird tickets now at fmparacon.com.
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
Coming soon to our website, spacedoutradio.com, is the SOR Space Travelers Club. For just $5 a month, you can get into a private area on our site where you can hang with other listeners in our chat room, post in our forum, and check out a bunch of exclusive content and store that won't be found anywhere else, including a nightly after-show party with Dave. It's going to be the best $5 a month you're going to spend. The SOR Space Travelers, only at spacedoutradio.com.
We pass the halfway point of Spaced Out Radio tonight. I am your host, Dave Scott, hanging out with all of you on this Monday night, early Tuesday morning. Thank you so much for kicking off your week with us. Reminder that if you've missed part of this show or others, you can always check out our free YouTube channel at Spaced Out Radio there. So go to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just hit that subscribe button. I'd appreciate that. And, of course, our website is spacedoutradio.com, where you can read the SOR Newswire, listen to the show live. We got more features coming as the Gavinator is working on it feverishly. Feverishly. There's a word we don't use enough around here. The final Monday of the month, we have Strange Days with Butch Witkowski from UFOcop.com. However, Butch is ill after suffering a heart attack on the weekend. He is recovering in hospital. He will need bypass surgery. So if you got some love or some prayers to send Butch's way along with his family, we'd greatly appreciate you taking the time to do that. Graciously filling in for Butch tonight is Brian Bowden from Inside the Goblin Universe podcast. He's out of Pennsylvania as well, does his podcast with another familiar voice around here, the crypto guru, Ronald Murphy, which I'm still proud of that nickname and how that one stuck. But, Brian, thank you so much for coming on, man. I appreciate it.
Oh, it's a pleasure. I'm actually out of New York City. Ron's in the PA area.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Yeah. So it's tough because, we see each other, but not as much as we should. But, yeah, no, it's great to be on. I always loved your show. You got a fantastic show. Great group, great audience, always. And anytime I can help you out, man, I'm always there.
All right, we got a bunch more audience questions, so we're going to let them dictate the way here. Let's go over to Uncle Dale, because you never know if it's Dale or his mustache that are asking the questions, because he has one of those power mustaches.
Sweet.
He's got a pair of questions. Talking about the pixelization, is it purely a digital artifact that doesn't occur in the natural analog world, do you think?
I'm not sure. I'm being brutally honest. I'm not sure what happens. I'm going to assume that, looking at the technology, and I hate to use an example of Star Trek, but I mean, a lot of the stuff we're doing today is Star Trek-ish based type of, idea and thought. I mean, it gives us the starting ground. Like, let's try to do that. I think the pixelization is when the matter is coming back into is being transformed from matter to antimatter or molecule. When it's making that process back over, there must be an energy, a spike or something. That's why you're getting the pixels. It's coming back into form.
Second question from Uncle Dale's Power Stash. How would Bigfoot be able to do all these magical things? Do you believe they are magical creatures?
No, I don't think they're they live up to the definition of what a magical creature would be. I just think that they're actual. It's a species that we're really not familiar with. It's pretty interesting. It's pretty magical when you see a firefly light up its butt, right? The tail end of a firefly. I mean, it lights pretty bright. It's almost like an LED at certain points. So is that magic? I think it's just part of the biological process of that specific species. And we just don't have enough of these things in the public domain, I'm going to say, that we can find out how they tick. I'm not one for doing, a dissection on this. If someone captures one just to dissect it, that's not my game whatsoever. I think that's cruel and unusual on the punishment side. But I think the more that we open up to these creatures existing, and the more we go out looking for them, but in a non-threatening way, I think we can build that relationship like Jane Goodall did with the gorillas, mountain gorillas. And some people are doing that. There's the whole gifting aspect. Some people gift. It's a slippery slope when you start gifting with a Bigfoot. Because if it's a food gift and you stop giving it food, or you move out of your house and the next people that buy it don't start gifting, there's going to be repercussions from it. Something that was very interesting that took place, I just heard it the other day, was there's just, guys in Connecticut I'm friendly with, and they do they have a spot and they gift a Bigfoot. And what they're gifting is that they'll use balls, they'll use string, they use the balloon. And now, something that's very interesting. There's something to do with quartz, and I don't know what it is, but Bigfoot and quartz go hand in hand. My buddy and the founder of our group, Al Sanariga for Bronxville Paranormal, where the location we had our experience at the lake, there's these unusual quartz balls there. It's almost shaped into a ball. It's raw quartz, and there was about 3 of them there. Al lives not that far down the road from that place, about 10 miles, I would say, roughly. And in his backyard a couple of times, he's found quartz stones put on his fire pit. So he's taken those quartz stones and he's gifted it back over to the spot that we use, where we have our experiences. And for about a year, nothing was happening. Just the other day, he found another piece of quartz in his backyard. And it's a big quartz rock. And he looked around his property, couldn't see anything. But there's something that with the quartz that I don't know what it is exactly, but it works really well. So if you're going to gift to a Bigfoot, be smart about it. Don't just, it shouldn't be food. And I think I went off the question, and I apologize. I don't think it's magic.
That's okay. Let's continue on here. Gail has a question. Do you think Bigfoot then hibernates during the winter?
I think some of them do. I think the most of they call them the clans, because they pretty much stay together. I think some of them are protected by cave systems, natural, maybe like underground type of bedding or homes, or not necessarily for hibernation. this past winter up in upstate New York, where we were having a lot of encounters, there was a white Bigfoot seen. It had a white coat. And I said, to the person, like a Yeti? And they said, yeah, it was really unusual. I've never seen it with a white coat. I said, are you sure it's not like a gray hair? It goes, no, there was other hairs in it. And it had the same physical shape as the ones he's seen in the past in that area. So I don't think it's necessarily hibernation. I just think they just, go together, and then one person goes out, or one of the Bigfoots goes out, does the hunting, and the other ones, are taken care of. I think there's a class system involved with that. So I wouldn't say there's any hibernation necessarily.
All right, moving on here. PBR is asking, you're part of the North American Dogman Project. What is that all about?
Well, that's the North American Dogman Project was started, I believe, by Davy Jones and Jody Cook. And they literally specifically went into just the cryptid called Dogman. And that's what they're investigating. And they investigate it actually globally. There's a Canadian version, there's New Zealand, there's Australia, because this creature is seen in almost every place in the world, some form of this creature. And we've come through my research, if you have Bigfoot in the area, you're going to have Dogman in the area. You may not necessarily see them all the time, but they're there. And so they're focused just on this specific cryptid. Just like the Bigfoot group, with Matt Moneymaker, he's just BFRO. They're just Bigfoot. If a Dogman comes in, I guess it'll be noted, but they're primarily focused on that specific cryptid. And because through what we do as far as the Bronxville Paranormal, we cover everything anyhow. We've been getting the reports of Dogmen. We've been getting the reports of Bigfoot and all these strange things. So no one was filling the void in New York State, and it's a vast state. So I signed up immediately, and unfortunately for Al, I volunteer for all these things too, because it's very interesting. You can go into researching this stuff alone, but it's better to have somebody you can bounce things off of, because you have one idea or perspective, and someone else has their other vision. And it's really nice when you have that dialogue going back and forth, because you may have missed something in your thesis of or hypothesis of what you think is taking place. So that's why the Dogman Project, we just joined up with it. We're filling a spot as co-directors. There's another person in the state because it's a vast state. And the way I looked at it is we would probably hit New York, which is New York City, Westchester, Putnam, Dutchess, and up to a certain point, near Albany. And then we'd get a central person there, and then a Western Western New York, because it is a really vast state. I mean, there's no way I could drive from New York City, up to Rochester in a moment's notice. It's just too long. We need other people there. So we joined up. It does give a little credibility when you actually have an organization there. But we've always been researching it anyhow, and if we can help out, we're going to help out.
All right, let's move on to another question here. This one from Joey. He's saying, how can you be sure the bipedal animal you heard but didn't see wasn't a four-legged animal using single register walking as a cat does, walking in its own footprints?
Very good question. There's a certain sound that there's not many. I'm going to assume that you're talking about possibly a bear. Okay, this definitely did not have a bear feel to it. There was no the snorts or any other sounds associated when a bear's in the area when it's kind of sniffing you out. That's the only other large predator that I would think of at the time. And because we did not physically see this thing, but it was there, we can't necessarily, point and say, yes, it was definitely a Bigfoot. However, we did go back to the location, and we discovered a den that was probably about 50 yards away from where we were. And I have pictures of the den. We flew, we didn't fly a drone over there, but we did some video. And inside the den, there clearly looks like, and we're going to classify as a Dogman Type 3, which is a mixture between a Bigfoot and a Dogman, but more Bigfooty. And then there are pups there. And I have the pictures. I can send them over to you, Dave, and you can throw them up. And there's also footprints in the area. And it's your classic Bigfoot type of print. It's more humanistic than animal. It's not a bear. And it's not the Dogman as been reported with like that footprint. It was almost like you get the hutch, and then you get like 3 claws coming out. This was more humanistic type of impressions.
All right. Jason is asking, as we got about 7.5 minutes before we're going to go to break at the top of the hour. He is asking, are those that have experienced Sasquatch or Dogman sightings more open to the paranormal after the experience? And before you answer, Brian, I want to get my 2 cents in here, if it's worth anything, especially Canadian pennies compared to American. But, well, we don't even have pennies anymore. But in regards to that, I would say yes. When I started having my own personal experiences, they all came out. All of a sudden, I went from seeing the angel of death in my mother's eyes to all of a sudden within 24 hours, 48 hours, my house was haunted. And then everything else that all of a sudden, it's like you're so zoned in and tuned in to what is going on. Now, all these other experiences come in and say, well, I can do that now. That guy's picking me up. I see his Kmart blue light special for the weird and strange going off. I can go over there and show him a little bit. Would you say that assessment is correct for a lot of people out there, Brian? Or do you think that, some people have that singular experience and that's all they're going to get?
Now, I think they're going to get more than that experience. And I think that when you have an encounter with one of these type of cryptids, and it's not necessarily Bigfoot or Dogman, it could be a gnome, it could be a sprite, or something out in the paranormal. And I'm not talking about ghosts or demons, okay? But there's a reason you're having it. And I think there's no coincidences in this world. It's purely planned, and whether you want to admit to it or not, we all have a certain sixth sense or an ability. And I think that encounter was meant for you to awaken yourself within and open yourself up to there's more to life than what you're seeing on TV and in normal life situations. A lot of people that have these experiences are scared out of their minds. And they don't know how to react to it. They immediately go to faith. So they said, oh my God. If you want to get into the faith side of it, all of these creatures are God's creatures. So it's destined to be. I know that it is awakened a lot more in me from my experiences and from most of the people that we've investigated with. We always love to bring a skeptic with us because it's very refreshing to see that first encounter and how they react to it. Most people get freaked out, but down the line, 3 months, 4 months from that, they start opening themselves up to the paranormal, or I don't want to say vibration, but their vibration starts to work, and they're vibrating at a better frequency. And I think it's the quest that you for more information to be a better person. That's part of this whole process. It's an unnerving situation, but anything worthwhile always is. And I'm totally convinced that it does open things up. Like you said, I mean, I have certain gifts. I've thought about them. I don't know if it was fantasy or not. It was reaffirmed by our psychic when I first joined this group, and I've worked on them. I don't want to open up a Pandora's box, but I do have a lot of abilities, and I don't normally go out and use them. I try to do good things with them and help them out, but I call it remote viewing, and I'm about 98% accurate. That's my accuracy rate. I also second guess myself because that's the logical side of me saying, is this an act of imagination or is it real? But when you get the results back and you get people saying, yes, 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 you are spot on, that reassures that I'm not going crazy and it's not just a fantasy. I think it does awaken things in people, and for the good.
We got about 3 minutes before we got to go to break here, and I believe there's a question here from Jason. And he is asking, are those that have had experiences... Actually, I already asked that. Darn it. Sorry about that. That's my fault. We could redo that entire question in regards to that. Well, let me follow it up with this then. You know, do you believe then that the paranormal, because we don't know anything about it, only gives you as much as you can handle?
No, not at all. Trust me. You know what? I don't think so. I think it's full throttle. Paranormal. There's no baby steps in this thing for the most part. Some people get crazy with it, like these guys on TV that are challenging and threatening, or people don't think it's real. And when you start doing this, it's a crazy world out there. I think there's a lot of, there's not a unified theory behind all of paranormal, but especially with ghosts and demons and what have you. But I think it's just full throttle. There's no sugarcoating it. When you wake up and you think you're having a dream, but you see your dead grandfather and you're actually having a conversation with him, and you tell him in your dream that, but Grandpa, you're dead. And he confirms, yes, I am, but I'm worried about your mother. And then a couple months later, your mother has a heart attack. It's pretty unnerving. And there's no subtlety to the paranormal. That would be in the book form. If you were writing that paranormal story, that Stephen King-esque, the beginning, middle, and end. It's a wild ride. Be careful where you go and what you wish for in regards to the subject.
You could say that for a lot of things. We've heard that over the years. Be careful what you wish for, because as we got about 45 seconds left, you get a lot of people who will say, damn, I would love to be abducted by aliens. Well, they're not clarifying they want the good aliens or the bad aliens. So you get what you wish for. And that's really what it is.
We'll talk about abductions when we come back.
We can go wherever we want tonight, man. We can go wherever we want. I'm having a lot of fun with you tonight, Brian. I really am.
Yeah, I got a good one for you regarding missing time. So it's an interesting. It's all happened that night with the Bigfoot. So it's pretty powerful.
All right,
we had an experience.
We're going to get into it right after this break, because Brian Bowden from, where are you? New York. You're a New York guy.
Yes,
I keep thinking you're Pennsylvania. Yankees or Mets? Yeah, right off the bat, Yankees or Mets?
Okay, I'm the Red Sox fan.
You sick bastard. Why didn't you tell me that before you were on the air?
Actually, I don't follow baseball anymore. My team is the New York Rangers, and it's a tough team to follow. It's the reason why I drink sometimes.
Well, Mike Keenan brought it home in '94. I love Mike Keenan, so you're all right. More Spaced Out Radio with Brian Bowden on Strange Days right after this.
Get your horns up with me on Spaced Out Radio. This is Ron Bumblefoot Thal. Come tune in to SOR where you can hear me rock out with Little Brother is Watching, the official theme song of Spaced Out Radio. And then come on over to bumblefoot.com where you can find out about my tour schedule, my music, and everything else. Bumblefoot.com keeps you up to date on what I'm doing and the best way to stay in touch with my music and music camps. Sign up for my newsletter at bumblefoot.com and remember, Little Brother is watching.
At spacedoutradio.com, we have a little bit of everything for you to stay up late. So while you're there, check out our SOR Newswire, where our team brings you stories of the weird and strange to the WTF from around the globe. News on Bigfoot, UFOs, paranormal, Darwinian-type crime tales. It's the stories that the mainstream media usually won't touch. Well, we got them all on the SOR Newswire, only at spacedoutradio.com.
We all know on Spaced Out Radio we love a good beard and mustache, so why not take care of your facial hair with Mighty Moose Beard Oil? Made in Canada, we're taking care of beards and stashes around the world. We use 100% natural ingredients with our oils and balms to make your whiskers feel silky smooth. Use promo code SOR2019 at MightyMooseBeard.com today.
Come hang out with Spaced Out Radio where we own the night. This is Carl. You can follow Dave on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, and during the show, use the hashtag Spaced Out Radio to chat with us live. On Instagram, at Dave Scott SOR. On Facebook, give our page a like, Spaced Out Radio Show. SOR archives are free on YouTube at Spaced Out Radio. Come join us, or I will come join you. See you at your window.
Find your escape where time has no limits. It's about living today and cherishing the heritage of yesterday. A spirit of adventure for what is new, with the nostalgia of the past. Your timepiece is a reflection of who you are. Life surrounded by beauty from the world around us to the soul within. EscapeWatches.com. There is no time like the present to enjoy your escape. Use promo code SMF2017 for your 20% discount today.
The Call of the Wild is in Vancouver. The Moose Vancouver is one of the hottest bars and restaurants in the city. Open until 2 a.m. nightly, the Moose will rock you like a hurricane all night long. Great food with everything on the menu at $6.95 near the corner of Nelson and Granville. Get your horns up and come rock with us. The Moose Vancouver, the official rocking bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Canada's largest UFO conference is ready to roll in Toronto this September 21st and 22nd at the Alien Cosmic Expo. This year is about the experience. Listen to the stories of Dave Scott, Travis Walton, Paula Harris, Grant Cameron, Ryan Stacey, Richard Dolan, Leslie Mitchell-Clark, and more. Get your tickets now at aliencosmicexpo.com.
Hey fans, it's Dave Scott. Do I have something for you to check out? A great documentary about legendary Mexican investigative journalist Jaime Maussan and his search for the truth about UFOs. Beyond the Spectrum, Maussan's UFO files can be found on Amazon Prime. It's free to watch if you're a member. You might even hear me in it. So check out Beyond the Spectrum, only on Amazon Prime.
Visit purpleplates.com today. For over 40 years, the Purple Energy Plates have been delivering amazing results for their many customers. Inspired by the great genius Nikola Tesla, the harmony, healing, and energetic effects of the plates have proven over and over to be beneficial and often miraculous to thousands of customers. Check their site for daily specials and choose from their many energy products. You won't be sorry. Visit them today at purpleplates.com.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7 with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
Are you having encounters with the paranormal, supernatural, or ufological that you cannot explain? Look no further than the SOR Sightlines Report, brought to you by the Experiencers Support Association. This is Ryan Stacy, head of the Research Association, TESA. Soon on the Spaced Out Radio website, you'll be able to file your reports and have them researched for you. We are independent and ready to help Spaced Out Radio listeners today.
From the mile-high mountains of Colorado to all of you around the world, this is Tessa Nicole Thomas, and I invite you to stick around spacedoutradio.com for Saturday and Sunday nights where I host Spaced Out Weekend. Let me take you on a wild ride of weird and strange topics, from ghosts and ETs to remote viewing, psychic phenomena, and so much more. We get going at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern Time on Spaced Out Weekend, where we own the night.
On the first Tuesday of every month, I encourage you to come along for a journey with me, Geraldine Orozco, on The Spiritual You. Together, we will take a look at how to access the highest expression of yourself and change your life. Consciousness, ET contact, health, and wellness, we can talk about it all. So come along for a spiritual ride with me, Geraldine Orozco, on The Spiritual You, only on Spaced Out Radio.
The freedom to post what you want, when you want. That's the social media freedom you need. Social media freedom is the free app in your app store. No need to worry about going to jail or being shadow banned any longer. It's the freedom to say what you feel. The freedom to know Big Brother isn't watching. It's the way social media is supposed to be. Social media freedom. It's time to set yourself free. Download from your app store today.
We are getting ready to relaunch the SOR Space Travelers Club at spacedoutradio.com. For $5 a month, you can join us for a plethora of features found nowhere else. Hang out in a private chat room during the show and after party. You can check out some exclusive content and a store specifically for you, as well as a private listener forum where you can post your thoughts, stories, and pictures. The SOR Space Travelers Club, coming soon to spacedoutradio.com.
Come get spooked at the 4th Annual Forest Moon Paracon in Cedar-Woolley, Washington, Saturday, September 28th. UFOs, ghosts, aliens, Bigfoot. Speakers include Mike Morin and Jason Jordan, R. Keith Andrews, and Dave Scott from Spaced Out Radio, and so much more. There will be workshops and a VIP roundtable. Get early bird tickets now at fmparacon.com.
Would you like to connect with us? Head to spacedoutradio.com for all your latest show info. Now, back to Dave Scott and SOR.
Welcome back to the third and final hour of Spaced Out Radio. Tonight, I am your host, Dave Scott. Thank you so much for joining us. Tomorrow night of the show, we talk about ET abduction experiences. Experiencer Brent Rains is going to tell his incredible stories. 9:06 Pacific, 12:06 a.m. Eastern at spacedoutradio.com. Hi to everyone listening in on KZFX 93.7 FM in Ridgecrest, California, WQEE 99.1 FM in Noonan, Georgia, UPRN 107.7 FM in New Orleans, KDUN AM 1030 in Reedsport, Oregon, and down in Dangerfield, Texas, AM 1560 KDNF. On the digital side, hi to everyone listening in on Revolution Radio. Great to have you with us. Remember, all of our archives are free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Quadrangit Intermine. I know I butchered that. Quadrag Interim is your password. Make sure you use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night, right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you coming. Right now, you can go to our website, read up on the SOR Newswire, provided by Captain Shirk, our news director. You can listen to the show live. The Gavinator, who's continuing to build our site, has more features coming very, very soon, so stay tuned. For the final time tonight, we introduce Brian Bowden. He is a podcaster with Into the Goblin Universe with the crypto guru, Ronald Murphy. He's a paranormal investigator and researcher as well. He's been doing this for 25 plus years. It's pretty awesome. He is filling in on strange days for Butch Witkowski. In case you're tuning in late, Butch had a massive heart attack on the weekend. He is recovering in hospital. He does need bypass surgery, so we ask all of you listening in to send Butch some love and some care and some happy thoughts as he begins his recovery and gets better, because the old cranky curmudgeon definitely wants to get back in the game, and you know he will, because that's just the way Butch is. Brian, welcome back to the show.
Thank you. It's good to be here. Always good. You know, I wanted before the break, we were talking about how do I know if it's bipedal or another animal. Just so you know, I actually forwarded to Dave right now the pictures of the den, and someone, this is why we throw the raw data up there, someone went through and was looking through our investigative photos and literally caught images that I must have seen 1,000 times, but I guess we didn't have a big enough screen or set. But, well, I'm going to say it's clearly, one looks like there was a dogman type of creature there watching us in one scene, and another one looks like a giant monkey. So you take your pick. But we do have evidence that we do throw up. And, on our website as well as on YouTube. Speaking of YouTube evidence, when I told you just a minute ago about that craft flying by, and I said, what is that? What happened was that craft stopped and headed towards us. Now, I remember when we were leaving the location where we had that encounter with the bipedal cryptid, I was going to pack my camera in my bag. And I said, no, I'm going to put it in my breast pocket. It's an Olympus underwater camera. What I used the reason why I brought that with me is it does something great with night shots where it's able to catch even very low lux, very low light shots without any artificial anything. I don't know what the technology is for that Olympus, but it worked great. So when this craft came over and it started scanning us, I literally videotaped that thing for about a minute. It's online on our YouTube page, Bronxville Paranormal Society, and you can see the video there. But if you watch the video, put your headphones in, because you're going to hear a very interesting sound that this thing was making, as if it was scanning us. So that's where, I wanted to throw that information out for the listener that was asking the question. At that point, you'll also hear in that little video clip, Al said time check, and one of us said 9:15. Well, to get from that point where we had that UFO encounter that night to the next spot should take no more than 10 to 12 minutes. That's how close we were to this other site we were going to camp out in. And we got to that spot. We're doing our thing. We're doing some investigation. And we're going to call our psychic up to see what she's reading there. And he said, well, what's the time? It was 11:45. So we lost some time there. Now, I'm not saying I know what happened whatsoever. I'm not saying we were abducted. But there is a case of missing time in that investigation.
Interesting.
Yes.
Interesting. With the ET abduction phenomena and everything that's happening in ufology right now, and there's a lot going on, and I'm going to try and stay away from all of the rigmarole that's been going on over the past few weeks and months. But to me, Brian, I feel that throughout this whole disclosure process and the media getting involved and the arguing and bickering, that the experiencer of those who are being taken, making contact, abductions, UFO sightings out of the blue, is the experiencer, in your opinion, the forgotten soul through this entire UFO argument right now, in your opinion?
Yeah, they are. There are people out there having these. I'm not going to say it's a good experience. I got to be honest. People fantasize about this. Oh, it'll be great. I'll be abducted by aliens and I'll get to take them to the planet. It's not a good experience. Most people don't handle it very well. Initially and for years thereafter. Some people just never get over that experience, and these people are being thrown to the wayside. The only positive that's coming out of here is it's becoming more mainstream. But with the mainstream, then all the people that want to jump on board that train get involved, and they get thrown back even more, the people that have had the experience, and the abduction, and the tests, and whatever else they do with you. So it's a really tough subject, seeing what's going on right now, because it's almost like a dog and pony show, but there's some seriously hurt individuals out there that need answers, want answers, and they're never going to be really addressed at this point.
Mm-hmm. And the reason why I'm asking this is because even online, the experiencers and what they have gone through right now, through this entire political agenda, which I believe it is, have really taken a back seat to those who are trying to pick sides on whether or not they're supporting what is going on right now. I mean, these are people, some of them have had some very traumatic experiences. You've talked to people, you've got the stories, and maybe you could share one with us. But in the end, do you think this is going to cause many experiencers to go back in the cupboard, so to speak, so that way they don't have to deal with the UFO community?
I think so. I think the people that have stepped forward, that were brave enough to step forward to talk about their experience being experiencers, I think they're going to pull back from this. They're going to get reserved, because I think there's going to be ridicule associated. You know, people are going to make a joke out of it. There's always that one group that's going to, you know, make a joke of the two sides fighting each other. You know, tastes great, less filling. But there's I don't know if you've ever had Derek Tyler on your show. He's out in your neck of the woods. Derek is. We interviewed him, and he gave us his first copy of his book, and he told us, you know, if you're going to read something, just read the first XYZ chapters. And I'm not a nerve person. I mean, you know, very, very little things scare me, except if a doctor says it's a girl. That was a little unnerving the second time, but I read some stuff, what he went through. We're talking about, you know, them literally cutting into your eye, and you're aware of it, and you're awake for it. You know, putting, what they would say, implants, or doing whatever tests they were doing, and it's causing tremendous amount of pain. Most people that are experiencers that are coming out, they remember that pain. Just, you know, poke your finger in your eye, or put a knife in your eyeball. I mean, you don't want to relive that. And these people have lived through things like this, and have lived through what's classified basically as a rape, because people are being taken. Samples are being taken from both men and women. There may be children being created from this, be it hybrid or human or, you know, and it's the equivalent of being raped, and then to be ridiculed publicly. I think you're going to see a lot of these guys, you know, men and women, just like, you know, kind of drop off the radar. There's no reason for them to come forward and have to deal with that pain, you know, until this is all over, which hopefully it will be over soon.
I don't know if it will.
I've been stating this, you know. All I hear from a lot of people, and you know, some old people that used to go to this meeting, they're very. It's become militant regarding the subject matter, disclosure, and I've always maintained, and I'm not a government agent, and I'm not a spy, but I'll tell you, from my perspective, we live in a world that is not a kumbaya world. There's a lot of enemies, and a lot of people out there wanting to hurt you and hurt people. And if I was president of the United States and I was totally aware that we have alien technology and we've been in contact with aliens from XYZ years, I will never disclose that for the national security and the safety of the citizens. And people say you're being selfish, it must be known. And my comment coming from a U.S. perspective is, if you just look at the last election we had in this country for president, and see how the public, for the most part, reacted to the fact that the current president was elected. They couldn't handle that. Now just fast forward, and you're going to tell you think they're going to be able to handle the fact that we are just ants, and there are beings or entities or races of whatever that can destroy us at will, and that you think you're going to react well to that? I don't think they can handle it. So,
right,
the whole disclosure thing is, without getting too crazy and getting too many hate letters, I think it's a dog and pony show. I think it's politically motivated, even Black Project motivated. The reason probably is for control of certain masses. And to be brutally honest, disclosure took place, in my opinion, and I discussed it with you before, 1977, when Close Encounters of the Third Kind came out, the final scene where they're actually meeting the aliens. Who's there but the doctor himself, Hynek? So he's there. It's blatantly obvious we've had this technology. We've had an interaction with them. And if you just can't read through it, then I don't know what to tell you. But, I don't need my hand held. I mean, I'm pretty smart in how to figure out that there's something going on, besides this. And I'm not getting involved in the fight because it's just all these people are doing that. The ones that are coming through, they just want to be the celebrity. And I see a lot of authors who now are coming off as experts. And I'm sorry, but you're just an author. And as far as research is concerned, I don't think you're the researcher. You're just an author, and you're trying to sell books or get on a TV show.
Absolutely. It's the same problem we have with a lot of self-titled people calling themselves journalists, and they've never spent a day working in journalism. But because they blog or vlog about UFOs, all of a sudden that makes them a journalist. So it's very intriguing the way everything is shifting. For our audience, because you've told some incredible stories here tonight, is there a abduction or contact story that you have researched that really sticks out with you?
There's nothing like tremendously, I'm sticking closer to the New York tri-state area for the most part. I was very good friends with a couple of people, and one of my best friends, he met this girl, and I was in the subject. Oh, you'll love my mother. And I went to meet the mother, and she's great. She's a fantastic lady. And I met the sister. And heavily into UFOs, heavily into aliens and Bigfoot and the whole nine. And I will tell you straight up, when you talk about the hybrid children or the star children, they talk about the big blue eyes and the bigger, wider eyes. And this girl had all the makings of the fact that she was right there. I mean, I would lay money that she was a byproduct of not just a normal relationship. And they've even thought it too. But I haven't gotten to people that want to express right now, their abduction experiences. We do have a case that we're working on in the Rockland County area, and there's a very young girl there who's very nervous. She's got a young child, and she's having this feeling that she's being abducted, and we're working on it right now. It's just kind of hard to deal with. I don't want to know if I was ever abducted. When I had that missing time, I'm not getting regressed. The best advice I ever heard was from Derek Tyler, who said, if you can sleep at night and you don't have any nightmares, don't mess with it. I think people that get regressed and they open up this Pandora's box, they're the ones that can't handle it. And I don't want to know, I would never want to know, because you have no control over this. You have absolutely no control if these beings are taking you from your home and doing whatever they want to them. There was a Bud Hopkins book, I think it was called Witnessed, and it was a great book. That was one of my most favorite abduction cases. I was not involved in it. But basically, members of the United Nations were leaving about 3 a.m, and they're driving on the FDR, which is right in front of the United Nations. And I don't know where they were traveling. I think the Secretary General may have been involved. and they all witnessed a woman being abducted by a spacecraft. She was, I want to say 13 or higher stories in the air, floating in midair into this craft. And I've always thought, and I've been trying to research which people were involved in that, which security agents were involved in it, and I've never been able to get that full information. But I thought that was pretty an amazing event to take place.
You mentioned Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Couple questions about that, going back to 1977. Devil's Tower, Team Stump or Team Rock? Which one are you on?
I'm leaning now more towards the Stump, and it's got all the right markings for it to be a really big tree. It's very strange. I think that the talk is it was the tree of life, the actual Garden of Eden, the big tree. It just has that. It has all the qualities that it has to be a stump. I think it's a stump.
I love it. We're on Team Stump as well around here. So you win that with me. Why do you think Close Encounters of the Third Kind was the disclosure? That's interesting. I've never heard that theory.
The man in charge of the entire Project Blue Book, the one that the government picked, the guy that was like, yeah, these things aren't real, who eventually down the line discovered that they are real. Pretty much, he's right in front of you at the last scene of this movie, and the craft has landed. The gray aliens are coming out well before Whitley Strieber's book came out, right? A long time before that. They looked exactly like that. They're returning some of the airmen, and they zoomed right in on this guy. And it's a great way of saying it's real without saying it's real. So he gets to keep his safety and security, whatever it is. And I just think it is the definitive proof that we've been working, or governments around the world have been in cahoots for many, many years, working with these extraterrestrials and having an exchange with them. I don't know if it actually took place like the Close Encounters. It's loosely based on an encounter, from what I understand, that did take place with the government, but it's still government-based. I think it's disclosure right in front of your face. But people weren't aware of it at the time. They just thought it was a movie. What a great way to get to the masses, right? That, using
the depictions of the UFOs and the aliens. I mean, going back to 1977 technology, what they were able to create sure stuck with people. And you know what? I'm really surprised, as we only got about 2 minutes left, Brian. I'm really surprised that they never made a sequel with Richard Dreyfuss coming back.
That's the best part of it. Let your imagination run wild, because this is unimaginable. Think about that. This can't be happening. I mean, it's kind of genius. Everything works in that movie. You're talking about frequencies, you're talking about lighting, you're talking about the right tones, communication. What is the universal language of the world? It's mathematics. What is music? Mathematics. What is alphabet? Mathematics. It all gels. And if you really just look at that one movie, I'm telling you, people, watch it again. It is full disclosure right in front of your face. We don't need the government. We'd love to have a craft land and say, hey, we're here. Yeah, we're just watching you guys, but we'll be there. I don't think there's a galactic federation. I'm sorry. I just don't. Contrary to popular opinion. I think there's a variety of different races out there that I'm aware of, and some are more sympathetic towards humans, and a lot of them don't give a damn about us. They think that we're just pieces of dirt and dust, and they're far more superior intelligent wise than we will ever be. And I think each one of these things keep each one at bay. But the problem we have as human beings is everything's emotional. When you get to these entities that are out, once you take emotion out of it, you can actually make a judgment call, and that's what makes humans humans. It's emotion.
Hey, Brian, on that note, I got to say good night to you, and I would say thank you so much for filling in for the ailing Butch Witkowski tonight on Strange Days on Spaced Out Radio. Really appreciate you taking the time. We got to make sure it's not 22, 23 months again, man.
No, not a problem. And we definitely want you on our program. So come on over to Inside the Goblin Universe. Oh, yeah, we'll get it done.
Absolutely. Get ready for the SpaceX launch of the STP-2 mission. You can catch it live on YouTube right now. Coming up after the break, we have the SOR Newswire and the Thought of the Day. Lots more to come on Spaced Out Radio.
Coming soon to our website, spacedoutradio.com, is the SOR Space Travelers Club. For just $5 a month, you can get into a private area on our site where you can hang with other listeners in our chat room, post in our forum, and check out a bunch of exclusive content and store that won't be found anywhere else, including a nightly after-show party with Dave. It's going to be the best $5 a month you're going to spend. The SOR Space Travelers, only at spacedoutradio.com.
Are you having encounters with the paranormal, supernatural, or ufological that you cannot explain? Look no further than the SOR Sightlines Report, brought to you by the Experiencers Support Association. This is Ryan Stacy, head of the Research Association, TESSA. Soon on the Spaced Out Radio website, you'll be able to file your reports and have them researched for you. We are independent and ready to help Spaced Out Radio listeners today.
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thal, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
Hey, Spaced Out Radio listeners, it's Dave Scott. I want you to check out a great documentary I'm involved in called Beyond the Spectrum, Mosson's UFO Files. Directed by Darcy Weir, the film follows Jaime Mosson's journey for mainstream journalistic truth in ufology in Mexico. Beyond the Spectrum can be found on Amazon Prime. If you're a member, watch it free. It's worth the watch. Come get spooked at the 4th Annual Forest Moon Paracon in Cedar-Woolley, Washington, Saturday, September 28th. UFOs, ghosts, aliens, Bigfoot. Speakers include Mike Morin and Jason Jordan, R. Keith Andrews, and Dave Scott from Spaced Out Radio, and so much more. There will be workshops and a VIP roundtable. Get early bird tickets now at fmparacon.com.
From the heartlands of Canada to beards around the world, we know how to take care of you. Fill your follicles with the Mighty Moose Beard Oil. All our oils and balms are handmade and 100% natural ingredients because we care about your beard. And hey, use the promo code SOR2019 and get your Mighty Moose Beard Oil today. You can check us out on our website, mightymoosebeard.com.
Heading to Vancouver and looking for a night on the town? The Moose Vancouver is the bar that never stops rocking until 2 a.m. every night. The Moose has great food with everything on the menu from $6.95 to $8.95. Fantastic, vibrant staff and rock and roll that will bring you back to when the music was real, the hair was long, and the guitars were rocking. Get your party on at the Moose Vancouver, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
A timepiece is a reflection of who you are, and what better way to show off the real you than with an Escape watch? Escape is a lifestyle brand accessorizing your days and nights. Choose to escape and create the life of discovery that you deserve. Dream, play, unite with your own personalized Escape watch. Head to escapewatches.com. There is no time like the present to enjoy your escape. Use promo code SMF2017 for your 20% discount today. Coming up this September 21st and 22nd, all UFO eyes will be focused on Toronto for the 4th Annual Alien Cosmic Expo. Come listen to some of the biggest names and experiencers in ufology. Travis Walton, Paul Hellyer, Richard Dolan, Paula Harris, Grant Cameron, Randy Kramer, and Spaced Out Radio's own Dave Scott. Tickets are on sale now at aliencosmicexpo.com.
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
Every night on Spaced Out Radio, we have places for you to hang out. Hi, this is Carl. Join our SOR Space Travelers group on Facebook for live chat. On Twitter, using hashtag Spaced Out Radio. You can also join us in our Spreaker chat room. Check us out on Instagram at Dave Scott SOR. All of our archives are free on YouTube at Spaced Out Radio. By the way, I'll be watching you at your window until you do. Bye!
Did you know Spaced Out Radio runs 7 days a week? Hi there, this is Tessa Nicole Thomas, and I'm here to take you on a paranormal journey each Saturday and Sunday night. Why change the station when you have it all right here? Together, we'll hang out and share some strange and scary stories. And don't forget, we have Psychic Sundays as well, so come tune in Spaced Out Weekend. We get going at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern, only at spacedoutradio.com, where we own the night.
Looking for the stories of the strange and weird that you will find hard to find anywhere else? Check out the SOR Newswire on our website. Our writers, led by Captain Shirk, are scouring the world for the oddest and most bizarre stories we can find. Everything from weird crime to suspenseful and paranormal. We're working hard for you to bring you the most intriguing news of your day. Check out the SOR Newswire at spacedoutradio.com today.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
We've rounded third. We're heading for home tonight on Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting at the Captain Sheriff SOR headquarters. Thank you so much for joining us on this Monday evening, early Tuesday morning. And if you're listening to us while watching the SpaceX launch of STP-2 mission, this thing's 7 minutes in. Oh, it's just awesome. Just awesome. I love watching these rockets come back to Earth. It's pretty phenomenal. Pretty phenomenal, the footage that SpaceX gives us to look up in space. It's pretty great. But we do have to get to the SOR Newswire, so let's get to the weird, the strange, the wacky, all put together by Captain Shirk on the SOR Newswire. The news is always changing, which is why we bring you the SOR Newswire at the back end of every show, where we get to the weird, the strange, the WTF, those head scratchers that just seems totally impossible. We're going to get to some of them right now, if you don't mind. We are going to start off with this incredible photo, and I got to tell you, I want to know who the carpenter is on this, because this guy's going to make a lot of money. Why? Because a sleeping bear found a comfortable place in a Montana family's house this past Friday morning. Yeah, sheriffs responded in Missoula to a 911 call around 5:45 in the morning after the resident reported a black bear had entered their Butler Creek home. On the scene, when deputies arrived, the bear had crawled up onto the top shelf of a closet. Now, I don't know about you. I would never trust myself up on one of them. I mean, Lord knows that it would collapse faster, than Enron stock. But this bear is lying up there, and he's kind of looking, the photograph that they got of him, the bear's kind of lying up there like, hey, do you mind? I'm trying to cop some Zeds here. Trying to get some Z's. And you're bugging me with that light. Turn that light off, cop. It's not like I'm eating the food out of the fridge or anything. Yeah. So, anyways, they tried to usher the bear out unsuccessfully. But no, the bear just slowly stretched, yawned, unamused, looked towards the door, said, I'm going to bed. Going to bed. Well, the good news is they tranquilized the bear. They got him out of the house safely. And, at least they didn't put him down for, going to sleep in the couch. In the closet. But still, that carpenter who built that, if I were him, I would be paying this family some serious dough for that picture. Because that is a great photo, a fantastic photo of his construction work. It's totally incredible. Incredible. All right, we're going to come up to Canada here for a second, because here's a weird story. Air Canada says it's reviewing an incident in which a passenger claims she was left alone in a pitch-dark airplane after it landed in Toronto. Tiffany Adams says she fell asleep during her 90-minute flight home from Quebec City on June 9th. She says the next thing she remembers is waking up inside the freezing cold aircraft, still strapped into her seat after midnight, approximately 2 hours after her flight had landed. I think I'm having a bad dream because, seriously, how is this happening? Adams writes. She says she attempted to contact friends and family, but her cell phone battery had died. She managed to find a flashlight in the airplane's cockpit and used it to send a distress signal out to anyone who may be nearby. Adams says she managed to open the door to the plane, but was faced with a drop to the ground as there was no way to get her down. She said she frantically searched for a rope so she could climb down safely, but the seatbelt was too short to hang on, so she went back to her distress signals. She says, now I'm hanging out the door, reflecting the flashlight off the side of the plane, figuring reflective exterior would catch someone's attention. Adams says she manages to catch the attention of a luggage cart driver who brought her a ladder dock, which she used to get off the plane. She was then met by an Air Canada representative who apologized and offered her a ride in a hotel, but Adams said all she wanted to do was go home. Air Canada's spokesperson so far have declined to comment on its disembarking procedures or how the passenger may have been overlooked, but they are reviewing the matter, so there are no official details to share with the public as of yet, says spokesperson Peter Fitzpatrick. Wow. How do you forget a person on a plane? Is it not the stewards or stewardesses or flight attendants, whatever we're supposed to call them now? Is it not their job to recognize humans sitting in the seats sleeping? Do they not go up and down the aisle to make sure that everyone is gone? I don't get it. I really don't get it. How does this even happen? How does that crew forget a human being on a plane? If this lady is telling the truth. I think she is. I don't know. It's Toronto. Now this scares me about flying into Pearson International in September when I go speak at the Alien Cosmic Expo. Because I could sleep on a flight. I have no problem sleeping on a flight. What if this happens to me? I doubt it, but now I wonder. A power outage in Japan last month delayed 12,000 train passengers, and railway officials have finally found the culprit. Wasn't terrorism, wasn't anything death-defying by stuntmen, nobody trying to take their own lives. No. A dead slug is to blame for the outage, which stopped dozens of trains operated by railway company Kyushu Railway Company back on May 30th. According to a spokesperson for the company, we tracked down the device responsible for the power failure. We initially thought it was in there, or there was a bug, but it turned out to be a dead slug. The company had to cancel 26 trains and delayed many others because of the slug, because they didn't use any salt. Local media in the Kyushu region reported that the slug had burned to death after it was short-circuited the device that was responsible for the outage. Spokesperson called the incident rare and said, "We often have trouble with deer colliding with trains, but not a problem with slugs." I don't like slugs. Glad we don't have them up here. Today, the Supreme Court in the United States ruled that a federal ban on registering immoral and scandalous trademarks is unconstitutional, saying the government's disapproval of offensive speech cannot justify withholding a government benefit. The most fundamental principle of free speech law is that the government can't penalize or disfavor or discriminate against expression based on the ideas or viewpoint it conveys, says Justice Elena Kagan in announcing the decision. This comes after the Supreme Court sided with subversive clothing designer in a First Amendment case. So here's where it gets interesting. The ban on immoral and scandalous trademarks does just that. 5 justices joined Kagan's opinion. The Los Angeles artist Eric Brunetti had sued the government, saying it violated the First Amendment by refusing to register a trademark for his subversive clothing line. Well, I can't use the word. I'll spell it out for you. F-U-C-T. Other justices on both sides of the court, ideological divide, worried that the ruling went too far and would leave the Patent and Trademark Office powerless to refuse, in other words, of Justice Sonia Sotomayor, registering marks containing the most vulgar, profane, or obscene words and images imaginable. Sotomayor feared that the government would now be forced to register trademarks that include even a particularly egregious racial epithet. The Justice Department declined to comment on the decision or the Trademark Office's next steps. Justice Stephen G. Breyer worried that approving particularly divisive trademarks could lead to violence. He says, just think about how you might react if you saw someone wearing a T-shirt or using a product emblazoned with an audacious racial epithet. That's actually kind of true. The dispute may sound familiar. 2 years ago, when an Asian American rock group, the Slants, challenged the law against registering disparaging trademarks, the court ruled it was unconstitutional. The ban was supported in the case by pro football's Washington Redskins. Brunetti, though, challenged a neighboring provision prohibiting the registration of immoral or scandalous trademarks and won. Continuing on here. I wonder how the Rocketers doing. Oh, we're 17 minutes in. That's what I love about SpaceX. They bring us right to it. All right, let's move on here. This is an incredible story. Came out about a woman who died for 27 minutes and her haunting message after she was revived. So here we go. This is heavy. Maddie Johnson's aunt, Tina Hines, recently died. This would normally be incredibly sad news. However, Tina was revived. In fact, after suffering a heart attack, Hines was resuscitated 6 times, 4 by her husband with CPR and 2 more times at the hospital with a defibrillator. In total, Tina was considered dead for about 27 minutes. When she was brought back for good, she wasn't able to talk because she had a tube in her throat, but she immediately signaled to her family to give her a pen. When they did, she wrote a haunting message to them. It's real. They asked her what she meant. With tears in her eyes, she pointed to the sky, clearly meaning heaven. Maddie was so moved by the movement that she actually had her aunt's statement of "it's real" tattooed on her wrist. It's posted on her Instagram, Maddie Johnson. That's M-A-D-I-E, Johnson, without a T. It's pretty incredible. So, in her post about what happened, Maddie wrote that her aunt's story is too real not to share, adding, "It has given me a stronger confidence in a faith that so often goes unseen. It has given me tangibles to an eternal hope that is not too far away." When the tube had been removed from Tina's throat, she described more about what exactly she saw, saying it was so real. The colors were so vibrant. She revealed she saw black gates and Jesus standing in front of them with a bright yellow glow behind him. Tina has since, thankfully, gone on to make a very full recovery. That's always awesome when that happens. But that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. How long until Tina gets a book? I'm not saying that, to try and take advantage or to be rude here, but I think a story like this needs to be written. I'd love to have her story on this show. Maybe I'll try and reach out. That would be kind of cool. When her aunt is feeling 100%. Of course. And here's an interesting story out of Oregon. This is where we're going to finish it up tonight before we get to the thought of the Dave. Oregon police have spent 5 days to no avail searching for the 11 Republican state senators who fled the Capitol rather than vote on climate change legislation. In the meantime, the outlaw lawmakers have gained some fans. Right-wing militias have vowed to protect them, and a militia threat forced the Senate to remain closed this past weekend, according to Carol Curry, spokesperson for the Senate President Peter Courtney. The GoFundMe the senators set up to help pay the fines over their absence has so far reached over $50,000. Democratic Governor Kate Brown ordered the state police to round up the absent GOP lawmakers after they skipped out on a Thursday vote to pass a bill designed to reduce climate heating greenhouse gas emissions. Without quorum, Democrats couldn't pass the legislation, and the Republicans would rather voters decide in a statewide referendum. The Republican senators reportedly fled to Idaho, where they are evading the Oregon cops. One said he'd fight police if they tried to bring him back to the Capitol in Salem. "Send bachelors and come heavily armed," Senator Brian Boquist told the local media. "I don't think you're going to see us anytime soon," Senator Herman Bartschinger said, the Senate Minority Leader. Since Brown sicked the cops on the lawmakers, more than one armed right-wing group has vowed to come into their defense, and the state's Republican Party hasn't exactly declined. Wow. This is where hockey comes into play. Just settle it. Drop the gloves at center ice. It's so much easier than getting guns involved. So much easier. Thought of the Dave happens every night at this time, where we ask a question on our Facebook and Twitter pages, then read your responses on the air because we love the audience participation around here. Today's Thought of the Dave is as follows. We went for a little humor today. Being funny, what would you do if you came face to face with a dogman or Bigfoot? Humor me a little bit. Well, we got some good ones. Very good ones. Dead Minds Podcast on Twitter. I certainly would not offer them beef jerky. That never works out well. I've seen the commercials. Oh, so true. William, though, says better have beef jerky or some tennis balls, or both. The guys from Liminal Earth who were on this past Friday, Jeremy, ask which beard oil they prefer, of course. K28, show it a mirror and watch it scream with fright. Goddess Michelle, oh my, I'd pee my pants after I fell running away. Oh goodness. Just pee my pants. Pee my pants. A little pill there. David wants a selfie. Who else do we got here? Who else do we got? Let's see here. Well, Tony said I'd sit down with him for a cup of tea. As you could tell, Tony is from the United Kingdom, part of the Commonwealth there. Gabe, there would be a load in my pants. Evan, I think the first thing that would go through my mind is, holy crap, all of you Sasquatch hunters were right. Matthew, I'd ask what beard oil they use and then recommend Mighty Moose beard oil products. Yes, MightyMooseBeard.com if you want to check it on out. SOR 2019, tell them Dave sent you on the promo code. Francesca's like, selfie, finally we got proof. Dave, ask if it's true what they say about big feet and big hands. Oh my goodness. Catherine, there was looking at me, frozen, none my family around it. It was mesmerizing. Then it moved to its right. Then it took the right out, confused and waiting for the next move. But this is just way too long. Way too long. Catherine, shorten it up a bit. David, good doggy. Nice doggy. Dogman want to play fetch? Oh, I think it's into that. Renee, would take Dogman, Bigfoot, and Dave for a makeover with nice-smelling shampoo, conditioner, blow-dry, and a pink bow for each. What's with the addiction to the pink bows, Renee? Len, first I would say, then I would do it, and wish I was wearing my brown pants. Joe, if I came face-to-face with Bigfoot, I would ask her to stop stalking me. She's outside my house in the bushes. She looks in my windows. She leaves gifts on my porch. Every time I go to town, she just happens to show up at the same bar, and she's constantly texting me. It just has to stop. Final word goes to my buddy Mark. Yes, Bazooka Joe in the chat room. Human sacrifice. And guess which human would be the sacrifice, Dave Scott? Right or left leg for bullet of your choice, buddy. Thanks, Bazooka Joe. Thank you so much. That's my friend. That's my buddy right there. We go looking for Sasquatch together. Yeah. I'm the sacrificial lamb. I am the Lee Harvey Oswald of our Sasquatch team. Or the Tom DeLonge. But nonetheless, I digress. Thank you so much for participating in the Thought of the Day. We'll have a new question up tomorrow, because that's what we do around here. Big thanks to Captain Shirk for putting all of our news together tonight for the SOR Newswire. High quality stories tonight, Captain Shirk. We love you for it. Big thanks to Brian Bowden for filling in for an ailing Butch Witkowski on Strange Days. Our next Strange Days will be July 29th, final Monday of the month. We don't know if Butch Witkowski will join us. Hopefully he'll be sitting back healing. We may have to have another fill-in for that night, but that's okay. Tomorrow night on the show, we're getting into ET Contact, ET Abduction. Experiencer Brent Rains, 9:06 Pacific, 12:06 a.m. Eastern at spacedoutradio.com. We got Mr. Ron Bumblefoot Thaw rocking in the background with Little Brother is Watching. Bumblefoot is the official music of Spaced Out Radio, rocking us in and out of every single show. Get your horns up for the guitar god of smelt. Big thanks to each and every one of you listening in at home, at work, in your cars, in the chat rooms, wherever you may be. Twitter, hashtag Spaced Out Radio. Thanks for joining us. Remember, this show is copyright by Spaced Out Radio and SOR Media Ventures. Thank you so much for kicking off a brand new week with us, because together, my friends, say it with me, we own the night. I will talk to you in 21 hours from now. Mr. Bumblefoot, we need a favor. we need you to take us home. Good night.